You're listening to Hair of the Dogcast, a proud part of the Greenlit Podcast Network. Check out Hair of the Dogcast and all of Greenlit shows at greenlitpodcast.com. Hey everybody, welcome to a brand new episode of Hair of the Dogcast. That's right, you're listening to Hair of the Dogcast. I'm one of your hosts. My name is Tom, just in case you didn't know, which you probably did. I didn't know. You did not? No.
I didn't know.
We have a fantastic episode for everybody today. Today, this Dogcast is celebrating a momentous event, I would say. Guys, I don't know if you can back me up on that. Yeah, that's right. We are celebrating Grand Theft Autoberfest.
Yeah! Ziggy zaggy, kill those strippers.
Yes, just like that. And take all their Deutschmarks.
Or hookers, I don't know.
Sex workers.
Sex workers.
I believe they prefer ladies of the night.
Yeah, don't kill them. Have some hot coffee with them.
Just love them.
So yeah, we are going to be talking a little bit about Grand Theft Auto 3 on its 20th birthday, which just passed a few days ago from this recording. I don't know about you guys, but I can't believe 20 years has passed. That's crazy. And I feel even older than I did when the game came out. So it's ridiculous.
So wait, it's been 20 years since Grand Theft Auto 1.
Since 3.
Oh, since 3.
Yeah, it's been longer. But we will talk about that a little bit later in the episode. Who is here today?
I am Brad. I'm one of the the regular buffoons.
You're there.
Usually here on the show. Yes, I love stealing cars and I love drinking beers about it. So today is one of my favorite holidays.
Perfect. Thanks, Brad, for being here. And your beard is looking primo as usual.
Thanks, man.
You got it. Next to Brad, we have.
It's me, Dominic. I'm back, baby.
Oh my God, where were you?
Well, I was in Texas last week.
Okay, yeah.
And New Mexico and Colorado. Yeah, I'm back doing the regular Dogcast, filling in for Josh, who is unfortunately not able to be here because he's off, stealing cars and getting those stars. You know what I mean?
I think he's also in Colorado right now. No one really knows for sure.
All I know is he's posted like 30 pictures of breweries.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Well, if you're filling in for Josh, that means you have to be Dylan tonight.
Oh, boy.
All right.
There were some shoes to fill.
Let me get my burp ready.
Who is that fine man, that fine Canadian?
This would be Jamie Hooker Killer Bone. It's been 20 years of stealing cars and killing hookers.
All right, that's not a bad Dylan impression. Good job. Good job. Pretty good. All right. Well, thanks for being on the cast today, guys. And we want to say thank you to our executive producers, because without you, we would not be a thing. And we really appreciate your support. So thank you to Tyler Keller, Ryan Kristenik, Brian Ward, Kate Conti, and Kip. Thank you for your support. And also, awesome listeners such as yourself. We really appreciate you listening to us, supporting us any way you can. If you would like to see how to support us, please go to patreon.com/hairofthedogcast, all one word. We have tiers everywhere for you, just laying around for you to click on, possibly support us, and you get lots of cool stuff.
Do it.
It's Grand Theft Autoberfest. And this is how we celebrate, by going to Patreon.
Or we're going to steal your car.
Yeah, if you don't support us, we will steal your car. But just kidding. Just kidding. No, if you don't have any dollars to give, don't worry about it. But please, we appreciate a nice 5-star review on the iTunes, or tell your friends about us. There you go. That's my spiel. Guys, did you know that Hair of the Dogcast is a podcast about video games and beer?
Oh, I heard about this.
Yes, it's true. And we drink real live beer on the cast. So, guys, in honor of Oktoberfest, I think we have a beer theme going on today. Brad?
Yep, we're going to just drink barrel-aged pumpkin stouts. No, I'm just kidding.
Yes.
I wouldn't want to do that.
Mojitos.
Yeah, we're just doing mojitos today, baby.
Right. Yeah. Vice City.
Yeah, we have a selection of Oktoberfest here. Some special treats from one of our wonderful Patreon supporters, Ryan Kristenik. So we have a couple beers from Texas, and we also have a handful of beers from around here. So the Oktoberfest beers will flow today.
Fantastic. What are you guys getting into on your neck of the woods?
So we're going to open up the Texas Leaguer, which is a Marzen style, it's Mr. Oktoberfest Marzen.
That's right.
Texas Leaguer must be the name of the brewery. Yeah, Texas Leaguer Brewing Company, but Mr. Oktoberfest, which I forget what baseball player that is, but I know that he hit the ball really far.
Yep.
All the sports.
Did without any performance-enhancing beers. Probably. I'm not sure. I am
performance-enhancing beers. I would sign up for that.
I am
In
drinking.
my experience, it does the opposite.
I am also drinking an Oktoberfest from the Texas. This is St. Arnold Food for Fall Oktoberfest. It's full-bodied and malty. So thank you to our Patreon pal, Ryan, for sending this up to us. We always enjoy beer sent to us from the community, and we'll take it all. We will not discriminate. So, gentlemen, cheers, or prost, I should say.
You can really taste the Mr. Oktoberfest in this.
Oh, yeah. He got a lot in this one.
Freshly squeezed.
You know, I wish I
good.
could actually go experience a real Oktoberfest instead of a bunch of drunk people in Wisconsin, which is still cool, but it doesn't feel quite like what I expect Oktoberfest to be.
Quite honestly, I'm sure one of our Patreon subscribers, Jay Biz, can attest to this, but the real Oktoberfest is mostly just drunk Australians.
They do a huge Oktoberfest back in Canada. It's actually
in Waterloo, right?
Waterloo, yeah. It's the biggest Oktoberfest other than Germany.
Really?
I have not been.
You just drink maple syrup?
Pretty much.
Okay.
And, listen to Anne Murray and Celine Dion.
Okay.
Dave Coulier.
Dave Coulier.
Dave Coulier. You can't go wrong with the Coulier.
Can you taste the Mr. Oktoberfest in there?
I
certainly can.
I don't have the Mr. Oktoberfest, but I can smell it all the way over here.
So as long as you can smell it, that's a good sign.
It's a potent must.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, we have a heck of an episode, and we got some news to get through. So are you ready to go on this journey?
Oh, yeah.
Who's ready?
I'm buckled in.
Okay, let's do this. Guys, the CEO of Intel had some not great news for people in the market for new consoles and PCs, at least in the market for consoles and PCs in the near future. Now, we all know, it's no secret that component shortages experienced from the advent of the pandemic, especially semiconductor parts, have been contributing massively to the supply of electronic devices and PC goods, more so to the lack of supply. And we've been hearing for the past year and a half that supply would be bad for a while, but eventually things would even out. But it feels like things might be scarce for longer than previously imagined. In an interview last week with CNBC, Intel CEO Pat Gelsinger said regarding components shortages that, quote, "We are in the worst of it now. Every quarter next year will get incrementally better, but they're not going to have supply-demand balance until 2023. That's a little bit longer than what was originally kind of forecasted when the pandemic kind of started, or even in mid-pandemic. The number of companies all vying for the chips, and with the demand the pandemic has created for these devices, has also been unprecedented. So, you got your people working from homes, you got your people streaming all the Netflixes and not going to work anymore. So the demand for all these devices has been just off the fucking map, and it basically caused like this perfect shitstorm of people to get their hands on any kind of hardware. I'm sure you guys know.
Oh, yeah. It's wild to think about just like how tiny of a thing can affect virtually the whole world. I know
they're small. They're itty bitty. Those semiconductors.
Right. Recently, somebody messaged me about because I just got a new truck, and they were trying to figure out how they could get a new car customized to how they wanted it. And when the dealership said that they were going to be maybe looking at 6 months before the car they wanted was coming in, and it's because of these chips, they go in everything.
Yeah, everybody.
So that's why they're so short. It's because they go in anything that has a computer or a screen or some sort of like
any mechanical device will have
pretty much,
it. Like even like something as simple as like washers and dryers. And
And now toasters have like Wi-Fi and everything. Yeah, everything is all connected. You can play Doom on Twitter.
It's ridiculous.
You can't.
Yeah, I lament. I long for the day where we didn't have to have firmware updates for toasters. But did you know that Best Buy sells a $300 fucking toaster? Did you guys?
It doesn't surprise me.
But you know what the worst part is when you update the firmware and you brick it.
God damn it.
This toaster's useless.
I lost another bagel. Fuck. I'll never get it out of there. Shit. So yeah, you have only a few companies that are making these components, and yeah, it's not like you can just start up a new fucking electronic device plant, basically, or a PC chip plant. But despite these component shortages, both Sony and Microsoft have reported that their current crop of consoles, PS5, Xbox Series X, SX, whatever, they're still the fastest selling consoles in history of, for each respective company. So, I guess they didn't really mention how many of these sales are actually going to scalpers, but somebody's making this shit and somebody's getting, the consoles pretty much as fast as they can make them. But you guys don't care. You got your PS5s, right?
And Xboxes were stocked.
Yeah.
You guys are the reason.
I've heard that Walmart and Target and a bunch of suppliers are hoarding on to a number of consoles anticipating Black Friday, because if that's all I got to say is we have a certain number of PlayStation 5s in store, everyone will be at your store.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I just read that GameSpot was about to release some bundles, possibly tonight. GameStop. Yeah. Yeah. And
even GameSpot's getting in on the game.
Probably,
they should. And, I should put a fucking quarter every time I screw that up. GameSpot, GameStop. I'd be a millionaire. I swear to God. The supply chains are all fucked up. I don't know if you guys have been following that story. Just how many ships are just backed up in the harbor in like LA, and a lot of companies, like even Best Buy, they're all trying to get their early Black Friday sales like starting now, because everyone's fucking worried that the supply chain is going to break. It has been breaking down, and if you want your shit by Christmas, you better order it now. So it'll be interesting to see if they are hoarding these consoles, when they will release them, I guess. Are they going to wait till Black Friday? Because unless they're waiting to unload them in the harbor, I doubt that if you order something on Black Friday, I think the odds of you getting it by Christmas are going to be pretty slim, unless something miraculously unclogs the chain. But
it's going to be like the Star Wars toys from '77. Here's a picture of your PlayStation 5. Right. You'll play with it in 2 months. Little cardboard cutouts of the controllers.
Collect them all.
Walmart was apparently doing that, like people getting day one pre-orders of their PS5s and still waiting 3 months to get it. It's like they're literally just selling the hope of playing a game.
Right, a new hope. So,
zing.
Dang.
That's right, baby. Anyways, okay, let's move on, guys. And how about we take a little trip? You guys ready to go on a little trip with me, with Uncle Tom? There we go. That's right. We're going back to the land of fun and slightly disturbing video game patent filings. Woo!
Yes, these are fun.
So this past week, it came out that Sony has been granted a patent called, quote, "Spectators Vote to Bench Players in Video Games," end quote, that would allow spectators on online streaming platforms, like your Twitches, and are there any others? I don't know.
YouTube?
Sure. Let's say YouTube. Yeah. Good job, Dom. Good save.
Hey.
You guessed it. It would allow spectators to vote and or pay to bench players playing the games that they're watching. A diagram that was filed with the patent shows that in addition to having the option to bench, the viewers could also have the options to, quote, "warn player to improve, provide custom message, or keep in game." Players would only be removed if the votes equaled a certain percentage. Say 60% was given as an example, and there would also be a weighting system where votes from certain spectators with higher skill levels. So people who are watching, you have a high skill level playing that particular game, your vote would count more or be weighted more and have a higher impact on the total vote than someone who didn't.
Why would the spectator need to have any say in when a group of people are playing a video game together, whether or not to bench somebody?
Because society is a piece of shit.
Yeah,
and
it
we
can't work
love
any worse than the real democracy.
It's like Gladiator. Yeah, it's like the worst form. Everybody just putting a thumbs down.
That's just going to be a giant clusterfuck.
This is not going to work.
First, I thought you were going to tell us that you could bench somebody if it's a 10-year-old kid shouting the N-word while you're playing Call of Duty or whatever.
That kid gets upvotes, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Right. Sadly, yeah, that probably would be the case.
Because there's a bunch of 10-year-old kids doing the voting.
Yes. Yep. So Sony claimed that the genesis of the patent is due to, quote, more and more people have become interested in watching video games and esports events. Game developers have sought to enhance the viewing experience by providing increased functionality and interactivity for spectators. So they're just trying to engage the crowd a little more, apparently. Also worth mentioning, noticeably absent from the patent were mentions of methods of encouraging or rewarding players, or any kind of positive reinforcement. It was all just like,
this all,
you're out of here. This guy sucks.
It's all very negative.
This is going to work as well as the original Nintendo Power Glove.
Hopefully it works a little bit better than that, because that thing didn't work at all. Fuck you.
Has anyone heard from Josh about whether or not his glove works?
No. Okay. He probably hasn't.
I honestly don't
yet.
think Josh is going to play with that thing. He's going to put it up on the shelf and look at it.
He took it out of the packaging though, right?
Oh, it's lost all its value.
Yeah.
Tom cried a tear that day.
Did. So
I
don't know. What are your takes on this? Besides, you guys just think it's a shitty idea? Because I kind of do.
Yeah, it's all negativity.
It's gonna entice bullying, right? There's just gonna be a group of 10-year-olds that don't like this other 10-year-old, and they're all gonna vote him off.
I think the internet's gonna work. Everyone's gonna be really polite about it. It's gonna function the way people think it should.
So you're an anarchist, is what you're telling me.
Yes.
Yeah, this is really going to make the internet turn over a new leaf. I'm with you, Brad. I feel it. No, I mean, these companies file patents constantly, and most of this shit never sees the light of day or anything. It just happened that somebody caught the fact that this was awarded to Sony. I'm not sure exactly when they filed it, but I don't know. I do like the idea of having some crowd participation, I guess, engage people, but I don't know. There's got to be there's better ways. And
I think patents are a numbers game, right? Like Sony, I don't know if you guys ever have talked about this in the past, but Sony had a patent to use, inanimate objects in as controllers in VR. So they pictured a picture of a banana. You can use a banana as a controller in VR. It's a numbers game.
So it's gonna be downhill skiing, holding dildos is what's gonna be.
Yeah.
Shake weights.
Getting back to this, the patent about the voting thing, there's something in the speedrunning community that Grand Pooh Bear likes to do at what he calls speedrun sessions, where he does it live in like a bar scenario, and people will get a certain amount of tokens for the numbers of beers they buy or whatever, and then you can, if they get enough tokens, all of a sudden like it inverts your controller, or there's ways you can mess with the player and it's like a community fun experience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There are ways to have the crowd interact and have it be enjoyable for all parties.
Yes.
And this is not that
in
though,
person with alcohol, I think is definitely the key there.
This just sounds like a bullying technique, and it's surprising that Sony is the one that patented this and not somebody like whoever's running Twitch, I guess Facebook or whatever.
Yeah.
Who runs Twitch?
Mr. Twitch.
Is it Yahoo?
Justin TV.
Terry Twitch.
Yes. Yeah. Twitcherino. So I don't know. I'm sure some version of this will make it in if it's already. I'm surprised nobody else has tried to do some kind of just polling during a.
Well, they have. It's called American Idol and all its subsidiaries.
Exactly,
right?
dude. They should sue Fox should sue the fuck out of these people.
Simon Cowell is running out of money. He needs to sue Sony fast.
That must be a reality show now, where not the people it'd be Survivor, but the people watching gets to vote people off. That must be a real thing, right? Mm-hmm. I'm not tuned into TV anymore.
Yeah,
that was the first season of Big Brother. I think. Yeah. Going back to Josh's N64 Power Glove, I don't have this written down as a specific news item, but I did read it today that, was it today or late last night, Nintendo went live with their N64 games for that upgraded subscription package. I heard that's been a shit show.
Yeah, IGN had an article about how it was just full of lag and
bad emulation
and yeah.
One of my buddies, he has it. he said, I'm day one e-reader, man. I'm going to get that shit. So he's been playing it, and he says Mario Tennis works great. It's some of the games are terrible. Some of them, I guess, work okay. Regardless, I don't think anyone should be spending, $50 a year to play Mario Tennis. But
right,
especially considering everyone already owns Mario Tennis, right? Like these are all the games that everyone has 3 different versions of on all of the generation of Nintendo consoles.
Right,
it's
best game of all time, Mario Tennis.
To be fair, it's actually only an extra $20.
But that's a lot of money to pay for games that you already own.
Yeah, but if you're somebody like a kid who never had them, like we did, or somebody who doesn't know computers that well to do an emulator,
you compare the value.
It could be worth it.
You compare the value of this to the Xbox or the PlayStation, where you are getting free games every month that are new games.
Yeah.
Instead of here's another emulated game. Here's another emulated game.
Yeah.
And they don't even update them regularly.
Right.
If they promise there will be 3 new Nintendo 64 games every month, 3 new Sega games, 3 new Super Nintendo games, I would be more open to the idea.
Yeah. Do they even know when they're posting them? I feel like it's just random.
It's very random.
I think it's very willy-nilly. Just compared to, if you compare it to the release schedule of their other games for SNES, there doesn't seem to be a rhyme or reason to it.
I think the tactic they use now is called the Magic 8-Ball.
Yeah. And I think there's only 9 N64 games, and you also get some Genesis games that, have been around forever and so many
that
different
you got
ways.
on every Sega Genesis pack already. Yeah. You got it on the GameCube because you bought that Sega Genesis disc. You have it on the Xbox. You have it on the 360. You got the downloaded versions on your phone.
Yeah.
And, here you go. You want to play Sonic again?
Yeah.
No. Honestly, no.
That Sonic Genesis collection for PS3 and 360 is pretty good. And even go ahead.
Don't need it again. You already got it on the PS3 360.
Tell you what, though, you spend $50 a year, or you go eBay, you buy a $60 Xbox OG, $100 hard drive, you do a soft mod on it, and you have every single Sega Genesis, every single game you want on it for $180.
And it's perfectly legal.
Or on your computer for free.
Huh?
Yeah. But we wouldn't do that. That was an acted piece of cinema. Thank you for joining us today.
The Dogcast does not condone any of this stuff. Even though we taught you how to build a retro Pi, which you would never use to put games on.
I thought it was an apple pie the entire time. Hilarious situation.
Yeah, you're still
trying. When you tried to eat it.
Yeah,
you're still trying to poop that shit out.
It is apple season, after all.
All right, guys. Let's moving on here. I don't know if you guys have played the new Metroid. Speaking of the Switch here, but encouraging sales numbers suggest that Metroid Dread is on track to become the biggest Metroid ever.
I'm not surprised.
No?
Well, there has been a new Metroid game in as long as GTA has been out. So
yeah. If we're talking the classic style of Metroid, they did have Fusion, which came out around 2001, but that was the last time there was a 2D Metroid.
I think so.
Other than fan projects that were destroyed.
Yeah, well, 2017 there was an official Metroid 2 remake.
Oh yeah.
So that was actually the last 2D one, and I think it was made by the same people that made Metroid Dread, possibly.
So in other words, it's hey, remember this game that you've already played? We've increased the fidelity of it. Play it again and pay full price.
Right? Yeah, pretty much. We shut down every fan-made version of this game so we could release this subpar version of this game. So
but that's not Dread. I've heard Dread is good.
Oh yeah, Dread is great. I'll be talking about that on my what we're playing. But I don't know if you guys knew, but Metroid, never a huge franchise in Japan. It seems that this one turns out that it did hit pretty big when it came out a few weeks ago. Which so far it's outsold nearly every Metroid game to date since sales data started being collected in 1995. So it doesn't include the first 3 Metroid games, Super Metroid, the first Metroid, whatnot. But I guess
some of this, sorry to cut you off, Tom, do you think some of this crazy high sales for new Switch games is because they release a new Switch game once a year? So to get a first party Nintendo Switch game, you're waiting. So it's almost like people are just they're scrambling for original Nintendo content, so that they just go out and buy it. They don't care what it is. It's just finally here's a first party game.
Yeah.
I think that has a lot to do with it.
Yeah, I do as well. And plus, the install base of the Switch is, I think, close to 90 million now.
Yeah.
So
I rushed out and bought the new Mario Golf, and
you would.
I think it'll be very telling when the new Metroid Prime game comes out and it doesn't sell nearly as many games as Metroid Dread. I think that'll really speak to what kind of games people are looking for.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I was thinking about the same thing with it being a different kind of game, the first person. But I guess it all depends on how long it takes to come out, because I think the new Prime, provided that it gets okay reviews, I think that's a big factor as well. As long as it doesn't take 8 years for Metroid Prime 4 to come out, it could maybe capitalize on some of this boost from Metroid Dread. But anyways, yeah, so Nintendo actually put some major money behind Dread in Japan, which in the past it really hadn't done any, to my knowledge, any huge advertising spots. So they did do some primetime spots on TV and whatnot. And in the UK, the game also had the biggest launch of any Metroid game ever. And it outgrossed every Metroid game to date at launch. And while UK physical sales of Metroid Dread were less than, I think, 1,000 shy of the number of copies that the original Metroid Prime sold at its release, the number that they track does not take into account the number of digital sales that the game has sold. So right. I think the digital factor, it sold way more digital. So I think they are doing pretty well. And Metroid Dread has also sold 3.5 times more copies at launch than the game we just talked about, 2017's Metroid Samus Returns, which was the last 2D game in the series. And I guess we'll have to wait until November to find out the October NPD numbers to see how well the title did in the US, but all signs kind of point to it being a hit here too. So I'm pretty happy. Yeah.
So we got another beer.
It's a great game. Yeah.
I'm excited to play it once Dylan borrows it to me, but we have one more beer we're going to open over here.
They don't care about Metroid. It's fine. Yeah.
We care, man. I'm waiting for...
I don't believe you. Look me in the eye and say that, Dom, because I don't believe you.
Is there more to the story?
No, that's it.
I mean, I can't wait to borrow it after he plays it.
That's right.
I purposely tried to avoid a lot about the game because I know I'm going to play it and probably love it, especially if Dylan's track record of recommending games to me is right.
Well, he, on this podcast, said it was the best Metroidvania game he's ever played.
He's also said Game of the Year 20 times every year. So, we'll wait for the final verdict.
There's another Metroidvania that's going to come out before now and the end of the year.
All right, guys, what beer are you drinking?
We got another beer from Ryan, our good friend Ryan down in Texas. This is from B52 Brewing. This is Oktoberfest, Fest Beer Lager. It's a classic Fest Beer Lager brewed in celebration of Oktoberfest, surprise, with Pilsner, Vienna, and Munich malts and Hallertau hops. It looks like it's going to be extremely classic. Yeah. There's a beautiful lady on the can holding 2 big jugs of beer, and let's give it a try.
This is from Conroy, Texas, you said?
I don't know.
Okay. Conroy. Cheers, guys.
So I prefer this one to the other one.
Yeah, I think I do too, yeah.
This is closer to what you expect.
More rounded flavor.
Which is interesting because this is called a Fest Beer Lager.
I think a Fest beer is, it's going to be lighter than a regular Oktoberfest.
Yep.
It is. Yeah, this is a very light beer. I liked it. it.
That's
Thank
good.
you. This is,
I found with Oktoberfest and Fest beers that it's pretty easy to get a solid one, but it's kind of difficult to get one that stands out. I guess, I think they're a kind of beer that is hard to really fuck up, but also to make it, I don't know, give it that.
It's hard to perfect.
Je ne sais quoi. Yeah, it's
to make
hard.
it exceptional. To make it stand out is tough, but
exactly.
To make it crushable and get you drunk, that's the easy part.
But man, when you get that, you find that Oktoberfest that just makes you go oh wow, that's one to hold on. That's a keeper, boys. Put a ring on it. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, well, I'd put a ring on this B52 brewing lady.
And
B52,
your jukebox
that is. Yeah, I was going to say, do they sing Rock Lobster B52s?
Yes. And Love Shack.
Yeah.
Rock Lobster.
A little place.
Rock Lobster is the worst song written in the history of mankind, maybe.
Yeah. It's
I rest my case.
You know, they are the greatest band to come out of Athens, Georgia. And
Are they?
Some would say they're the only band.
REM.
REM.
Who else?
Yeah.
Okay.
REM.
God dang, you guys are good.
But Rome is a fucking amazing song. So we should go out on that song somehow. I'm surprised it's not on a GTA soundtrack at all.
It might be. There's a lot of GTA games I haven't played.
Right. Maybe we can do an a cappella version of Rome at some point in the episode. What do you guys think?
It'll be synced up perfectly.
Absolutely. It's gonna be amazing. All right. Well, let's move on here with our awesome Oktoberfest here from Texas. Guys.
Yes, Tom.
Yes.
I don't know if you guys are still playing Halo games on Xbox 360,
Oh, no.
especially multiplayer games, but
This is exciting.
you motherfuckers have been put on notice.
Yeah.
All right?
Uh-oh.
Because Microsoft will be shutting that shit down.
Oh, no.
And pretty much all Xbox 360 based versions of Halo games on January 13th, 2022. So time is ticking, guys.
This makes me want to put my Xbox 360, hook it back up, and to play it a little bit. I played Xbox 360 online a lot. You could still go up on like the Halo website and see how many hours you actually put in. It would probably scare me how many days total I put on to the Halo franchise. But if that's shutting down, that is a sad thing. But also, if you're still playing on the Xbox 360, I feel bad for you, son.
Yeah. You've had some time, you know. You got the Master Chief Collection now. Maybe, hit up mom and dad for Christmas. Get that Xbox One finally.
Have Dylan's old Xbox One. Just bring a pallet jack to get it out of his house because that thing's huge.
It's big. So the affected games that will be shutting down, and these are just the multiplayer servers. You can still play the campaigns. We got Halo 3, ODST, Halo Reach, Halo 4, Halo Wars, Halo Combat.
Combat. I feel like they're really targeting Halo. Right
Halo
here.
Mini Evolved, Halo Combat Evolved Anniversary, and Spartan Assault. What the fuck's Spartan Assault? I don't know.
I think it's a top-down, like XCOM style.
Yeah.
Really?
If I'm not mistaken.
I think Spartan Assault is like an episodic, semi-multiplayer online experience.
Maybe it is the live-action movie.
I'm a diehard Halo fan, and I don't know. So that
What about,
what the fuck, Brad? Come on, man.
What about Halo GTA?
Now, that would be a crossover.
Grand Theft
I
Auto
would
New
not play.
Mombasa. Yeah.
Okay. So get your last headshots in, people. This shit's going down, baby.
Yeah.
Get your last headshots in.
And don't
All
forget
right,
to
Brad
teabag.
just spit out his beer, everybody.
Yep. And keep it on the Microsoft tip. Microsoft announced that they will be celebrating 20 years of Xbox. A lot of 20 years anniversaries this year for a lot of notable things. 2001 was a fucking banger of a year, I tell you.
Yeah.
I believe you. Metal Gear Solid. You had that.
I'm Facebook friends with Ed Freeze. He's been posting rare Xbox artifacts in honor of the 20th anniversary, which has been kind of fun. He's like, here's the handkerchief. I'm like, hashtag love that.
Right.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I've been seeing some Xbox celebrating going on.
Same here. So the company announced on their blog that there would be a streaming celebration happening at 1 p.m. Eastern Time on November 15th. Head of Xbox Game Studios, Matt Booty, went on to explain that, quote, while we won't announce any new games, so there you go, just trying to set expectations there. This anniversary broadcast will be a special look back at 20 years of Xbox, and know that we're hard at work on the road ahead and what's to come in the next 20 years. So no new games announced, but it is rumored that new footage of upcoming games will be shown. And I had mentioned possibly updated footage of Halo Infinite's revamped campaign mode, but I believe a new trailer just dropped for that either yesterday or the day before. So I don't know if you guys saw any of that footage or not, if it looked good. I did not watch that.
I read some reviews of the beta for the multiplayer, and people are saying online feels really good. They're saying the multiplayer for the new Halo game is the closest they've been to the original Halo trilogy
Nice.
in a long time. I will also wait.
Yeah.
I will wait and play it for free because it's on Game Pass.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
I've been excited and let down 2 times in a very big way by 343, so I can wait and then we'll see.
You know what they should do to celebrate 20 years of Xbox and
Boxing
Halo
Day.
coming out? They should have a Xbox Elite controller, but as the Duke.
I wouldn't mind that. They're re-releasing a new Duke.
Really?
They're doing like a 20th anniversary edition of the Duke because they did one before, but the new one's going to have the added Xbox Series X, like some extra buttons
Like
on
the share
it.
buttons and everything, right?
Okay.
But they're up for pre-order right now on Amazon for like $80,
Nice.
and I don't need it, so I opted not to get it. But it does. Plus, I wouldn't want to play with the Duke
So
once
a
I
full
did get it.
size, a legit full size Duke, like the
Yeah,
that one
and then,
edition
like,
that came
but-
out a while ago.
Yeah, but like the inside circle lights up, like it's got the original
That's
Xbox
cool.
startup
Oh,
screen.
that's cool.
Yeah.
It's a 20th anniversary one. There's a few different options, but
Have we described what the Duke is? It's the original Xbox.
It's the original
controller, right?
Xbox controller, which is fucking huge. And the size is actually not too bad if you have big hands, but the right analog stick is poop. And the X, Y, A, B buttons are terrible. They're like oblong, and
it's very bizarre.
Yeah.
And it was
The
their
black and white buttons, like on the bottom.
oh yeah, that
Oh,
did
yeah,
run
I
And
forgot
on the
about
top, I
those.
can't remember. Yeah.
well, and
Yeah,
that was
flashlight button.
that was their that was their controller for their system. Imagine handing it to your 6-year-old brother to play a game like Fusion Frenzy, and he can't even hold it. Like
Right.
it's that big. You can't even wrap your hands around it if you have tiny little hands. So
Yeah. Imagine
yeah.
giving it to a smaller Japanese, population, and quickly realizing, oh shit, we need to redesign this thing like now.
And the redesigned controller is amazing. And I also, as far as wired controllers go, those original Xbox controllers were great because the function where you could like pull the controller cord apart and it wouldn't rip your console off the thing. That was a really cool addition. And
Yeah.
the Xbox did get a few things right, but the Duke I don't think was one of them. This is a novelty that I still think is cool, but it is a novelty.
I have a Duke at home. It's fantastic to look at.
Right. And yeah, it's a great paperweight for sure. I do not have a Duke. I need to get one though. I feel as a man who has big hands, and that's it.
And I wish it would make there'd be voice acting from the Duke from Resident Evil Village every time you used it.
Oh God. Yes.
Bradley Ward, welcome back. I can't do a Duke impression,
maybe.
but
Maybe not.
insert that there, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And for our final news topic here, and it kind of coincides with our topic of the show, but the Grand Theft Auto Definitive Edition Trilogy trailer was dropped since we podcasted, and turns out the game will be out in a couple weeks on November 11th if you want to buy it digitally. If you want physical versions of the collection, fuck you. You wait until December 7th in the US.
That's so stupid.
Yeah, I'm not really sure why.
Why not just delay the digital release?
Maybe they're just trying to figure out, okay, how many of these things we have to print and actually put into the supply chain. You know what I mean? I don't
There's
know.
a chip shortage.
Well, also that,
Yes.
But I think isn't the Switch version? So when the game comes out, you're gonna have to update it. Is my understanding. In the Switch version, you actually have to have a certain size SD card in order to actually even get it.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. So hopefully that gets fixed. There's hopefully some tethering that they can do to make it so that you don't have to go out and get a $100 piece of equipment just to play this game.
I hear though
Or
that
3 games.
I hear the Switch version though. Tommy Vercetti can actually wear Link's outfit, so
Yes.
I think it would be worth it.
Yeah. Tommy Vercetti's in Skyrim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Fuck yeah. Yeah, so to those who don't know, the collection contains kind of the original, I guess, not the original trilogy, but the original PS2.
3D trilogy.
Yes. So GTA
Yeah.
3, Vice City, San Andreas. And the trailer, it showed some, pretty decent visual upgrades for each of the games. They had lighting effects, textures. There's like rain and shimmering.
The killing hooker mechanic is like through the roof, apparently.
Yeah, there's just a button for that now.
Yeah.
So you just jam on it. It's fucking
I think
great.
it looks like fucking garbage.
Really? Like more garbage than the original.
That's like, wow, here's your PS2 game. Now it looks like a PS3 game. Play it on your PS5. Also,
Apparently they have improved the gameplay mechanics, though.
now they
Yes.
didn't show any of the improved gameplay because I have tried to revisit these games because I do love some old Grand Theft Auto, but the gameplay hasn't aged well.
Oh no.
And what would get me through it is like the humor and the charm.
Oh, wow, look at that.
The humor and the charm of the games, but I'm also worried about licensing, because if they get Vice City without all of the original songs, I would die inside a little bit. So
You would have died in my
concerned.
arms tonight?
Yeah, if the cutting crew isn't on there, then I ain't on there.
Something I said.
Yeah, that's valid. I wonder, because especially Vice City, especially the soundtrack defined that game so much.
Yeah, same with San Andreas. Really,
For me, absolutely.
Yeah.
And what's interesting is that Game Pass is getting San Andreas. PS Now is getting GTA 3. So I think Xbox is getting the better deal, because San Andreas, in my opinion, is a much better game.
Now, are they getting the upgraded version, or is it just like the old, like
as far as I'm aware,
backward
it's
compatible?
the remaster one, yeah.
Now, if the game, even if you improve the gameplay, I can't imagine it fixing the way the game feels, though. There's still going to be enough that doesn't work to me.
I think glitch-wise, like from what I've read about it, it's more of the feel of the game, right? So, you hit the jump button and your player actually jumps right away instead of, like a little shimmy, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
It said the games will have GTA 5 style controls and also GTA 5 style like targeting enhancements. So
now, if that is true, then I'm curious, anyways. But also, I don't know. That's a time investment that there's a lot of games on my Game Pass and other things that I'm waiting to play that revisiting. I don't know. The games look fine, but they don't look like they're remake material.
Right, not completely remake. They're more like remaster. Material.
And realistically, like, if you look at GTA 5, they finally kind of honed the craft of creating a GTA world, because looking back at the original GTA 1 3D, it was kind of a nothing game, right? Like when you were 10 years old, it was fantastic. But to your point, Brad, like they don't age well.
10 years old.
I mean, Grand Theft Auto 3, I feel like I could see things loading in the distance that weren't visible. There was like 10 people on screen at a time. I don't know.
Yeah, the thriving city of Vice City. Then, hey, Bob.
Yeah.
Hey, Joe. See you tomorrow.
We'll see. I mean, there's still going to be. I mean, Vice City is my homeboy, and you can't deny that Ray Liotta is going to be voice acting still. So, like, it'll be good to hear the performances again for some of these characters. But I don't know. I'm
excited to hear Samuel L. Jackson's voice, because he's a cop in San Andreas.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Realistically,
James Woods?
It's just it's milking the franchise, because they're
we got everything out of the 5 teat. We need to get something else.
What's the difference between a cow and GTA 5?
I don't know.
You can't milk a cow for 8 years.
Hey,
I like that no one's like, what about 4? No one has said that once.
that is true.
It's kind of forgettable. I actually literally
really
forgot
is.
about 4.
We'll get into that.
Yeah, let's
later,
save it,
but
guys.
yeah.
Come on.
We'll save it.
But the Nintendo Switch version, even though you have to buy like an $800 new SD card, you at least get gyro aiming, so you can move it around, and as well as touchscreen camera zooming, pans, and menu selections. The kicker, though, it's coming out at $60.
No.
Yeah, that's going to make Tommy wait. I think I'll buy it at some point, but let's get it down to like
Tommy
30.
Forgetti, more like it.
Yeah, hey,
I like that a lot.
Try
I'm a huge
Chiantix.
proponent for waiting for games to go on sale, personally.
Yeah.
So I never really dive in headfirst on day one, ever. Mostly because I don't know if it's going to be good.
Yep.
But I'm also very poor. So
that also, that's valid.
yeah.
Not that
It's
you're
a
poor,
good thing
but
that you have your Xbox now, because if you only had your Switch, nothing goes on sale on Switch, so you'd be waiting.
Well,
I like updates. I like updates. Switch sale, $55. I was like, whoa.
Damn.
That's $1 off.
Shit, dude.
right, yeah, I gotta get it now.
Oh my god, they're practically giving it away at that price.
Mario Rabbids is either $60 or $15, depending on the day. That one's the most ridiculous.
Yeah, that is wild.
I can't
Get it for $15.
When a game drops down to $42, like that's when I'm like, okay, I guess this is when I should get it, because I know it's never.
It's never going to get lower than that. Yeah, absolutely. Fuck you, Nintendo. Fuck.
Even when it's going to hit the Switch 9's original Switch digital console, it'll be another $100 to get that one Mario game for it.
Right. All right, guys, that's all I had for the news. Do you have anything to add, anyone? Any news, whether in the gaming universe, personal or otherwise?
I got a third video game tattoo due to Josh's challenge for the New Year's. I have Mikolash, Host of the Nightmare, tattooed on my ankle to kind of the shin to go with the rest of my Bloodborne lower right leg sleeve, or as Carly calls it, my baloney tattoo.
Baloney.
But yeah, and I'm going back in tomorrow to get more Bloodborne tattoos. So that's all the the personal news that I have related to video games anyways.
Good, and it's going to go with your Bloodborne themed wedding, right?
I wish.
Oh God, that would be great.
Yes, the priest will be Rom the vacuous spider.
Okay. Yeah, Vicar Amelia, I was thinking, got the white flowing skeletal horse. No.
Father Gascoigne is the ring bearer.
And if you die, you have to go right back to the beginning of the wedding.
You married.
Oh, my God. All right, guys. Well, that has been the news. And congrats on the tattoo, Brad. I have a feeling you might be coming in first on this New Year's Eve challenge. Or this
as again as last year.
Maybe. We'll see. The year is not over yet.
I already did. I already won. I've done all of them.
Well, good for you. I'm just saying there's days left.
The year's not over, Brad.
Yeah.
I'm just saying Josh isn't going to do one of them.
All right. Let's go to what we're playing, guys. Are you playing any games? Who wants to talk about what they're playing? And it's okay if you're not. Don't worry about it.
I am glad that you asked.
Yeah.
So
he's playing Bejeweled.
For those people who have listened to this podcast before, I have been kind of not on the side of Xbox. We did the live stream during E3's Xbox showcase.
Yeah.
And I was still like, give me a reason to buy an Xbox. And I was sitting on the toilet at work, and
this is back when you had a job.
This is back when I had a job.
Okay.
I just recently quit my job for, again,
at
those
Sony.
of you that have listened to this podcast. Yeah. And so
Was it a number 1 or a number 2?
It was a number 2.
Okay.
It was a number 2. And again, if you listen to the podcast, I do my number 2s out in public now because I don't have a toilet in my own house because I live in an RV.
Planet Fitness.
So, yes. And I have to go to Planet Fitness, as we call it here on the podcast, Planet Shitness. So I was at work taking a dookie, and I went and I grabbed my phone and I said, I'm just going to see if Best Buy has an Xbox S ready to go. No joke. Logged in. Said it was
more like logged on.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah. Log in the toilet. So there was an availability for an Xbox S, and I clicked on it, and it said, "No go, dude. Sorry, your card is empty now." And I went, "Oh." So I backed back out, and it was still there. So I tried again, and it worked.
Whoa!
So I bought it right then and there. So now I have an Xbox, a new one, I guess.
Wow.
Which I'm okay with.
The Series S.
The Series S, because it's an emulation machine, but also I just really wanted an Xbox for Game Pass. Mm-hmm. And since I bought that, and I think it was just before we did the Kingdom Hearts episode.
Okay.
So let me pull up my notes here. I have, since the last time I was on the main Hair of the Dogcast, I have played to completion 12 Minutes, Boyfriend Dungeon, Kingdom Hearts 3, The Artful Escape, Carto, Finn, The Crimson Sun, Katana Zero, which, Brad, I think if you haven't played that, you should, because it's really good, and I think you'd like it. It's very Celeste-y, but with like a time manipulation Max Payne style kind of mechanic. It's really cool.
Yeah.
Genesis Noir, and I am currently playing Dodgeball Academia, and I'm like 75% of the way through.
Damn, man.
All of that totaling about $220, and I have paid maybe like $50 for Game Pass. So
nice.
If you are out there and
that's
you
every
are
Game Pass game, I think.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. The wonders of what you can do without a job.
That'd be a cool thing for Xbox. That'd be a cool thing for Xbox to track if you like beat a game, just to compare how much like
money you're saving.
That game costs at the time versus how much you pay for Game Pass. I think it would blow people away how much money they're saving.
Yeah. Most of these games are they're all indie games, so except for Kingdom Hearts. So they're all like pretty much averaging like $20.
Yeah, and that's what Kingdom Hearts would have been at the same time too.
As long as you play one of those, maybe two of those, you're making your money. And I'm doing the finance deal where you pay for Game Pass or Ultimate or whatever it is in order to pay for your Xbox. And I'm going to have Game Pass for however long they're offering it because it's a great deal. So 2 years doesn't seem like... I've been paying that for PS Now for however long PS Now has been a thing. Yeah. And it's $60 a year for that.
Oh, you have PS Now?
Yeah, I have a problem.
Okay. Yeah. I've yet to play the PS Now.
Since I bought my Xbox, I have not turned my PlayStation on.
Damn. Too bought an Xbox Series X. GameStop fucked up, so I actually have two sitting in my house. But, that's a different story.
Don't tell them. Don't tell them.
Hey, GameStop, if you're listening, that is a lie. It's not actually true.
And Game Pass is really good. I haven't really played my PS5 just because the newness factor is there on the Xbox. Game Pass is great. You're not that wild. Far ahead of me on the monthly achievements. I'm only like 600 back because I too don't have a job.
Well, Jamie,
not for long.
Gauntlet has been thrown.
You've had a not job for longer than I have, so you better lock it up.
We're throwing the gauntlet down. Who can beat more games on Game Pass before the end of the year? This is a New Year's challenge. Yeah. That is a 3/4 of the year through challenge.
I just want to see who can be unemployed the longest.
Well, how many have you beaten? Because
this starts now. This starts now.
Oh, okay, sure.
Yes,
it's gonna be hard because I'm interviewing for jobs.
Yeah, I'm not doing shit.
Yeah, but you also go on trips all the time now.
Yeah. I'm actually going to be traveling a lot between now and the end of the year. So.
All right, so whoever can beat the more games before the end of the year wins.
Now, I am 75% of the way through a game right now.
Nope, doesn't count.
So I think it will count. I think it will count.
Okay.
As long as
what are you playing right now?
Dodgeball, I was playing Dodgeball Academia, but it fucking crashed on me. I have to reinstall it now.
Oh, it won't load. You should, because it's pretty great. Actually.
No, I was actually having fun with it. It was good.
As you're all wiki the games that are like easiest to finish the quickest. Yeah.
Oh yeah, totally.
Completionists.
5-minute challenge games.
Platinum trophy hunters.
Right now, I'm playing Nier Automata, which is a fantastic game.
Yes.
I'm extremely impressed with that game.
It's great,
fantastic.
Right?
That only counts as beating it once if you beat it 3 times, though.
26 times.
But you have to.
I'm halfway through second time, so...
Okay.
So you're 9?
So it is... to me, that is just one time, though.
Yeah.
They will call it 2 times, but that is still just one story.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, totally. That's the major one, really, and playing Deathloop while I can on the PS5, but that's kind of been on the back burner since Game Pass, but I got to go back. Deathloop is a great game.
Mm-hmm. Getting back to what you said, since you got the Xbox, you haven't turned your PlayStation on. I've been the same way. If a game is going to be on both systems, I do prefer to play it on the Series X generally. That seems faster, more efficient. It just seems like a cleaner console to boot up. I just feel more instant joy from the Xbox. Now, PlayStation exclusives, I recently beat Ratchet and Clank. Well, it's just a different UI. It's a different experience, but... Mm-hmm. PlayStation 5 exclusives, though they are rare, are fantastic. Like just playing Ratchet and Clank with the PS5 controller and hearing the sounds and feeling that smart vibration that the controller has is amazing. But that doesn't happen often, you know?
Yeah.
If a game is made for like both systems, the PS4 and the 5, as well as other stuff, I need it to be a PS5 only game.
Yeah.
Because there are things that console can do that other systems and controllers can't. So if it's like that, then I'm a big fan. But
I still like the feel of the Xbox controller for me. So that's like the biggest selling point. But I'm with you. Like, I think the PS5 controller is actually a fantastic controller, and I think it's the first time Sony got it right, at least for my meat
I think they
hands.
knocked it out of the park. I was actually a big fan of the PS4 controller. The new Xbox controller I actually find extremely comfortable. Mm-hmm. The PS5 controller still feels more natural to me, though. Like the layout of it, you have the bigger horn, so it fits your hands a little bit better. Mm-hmm. I think having tried both systems now, albeit this argument will change once both systems finally have or PS5 has exclusives, first parties, what have you. Xbox is a little bit behind the ball on that until Halo comes out. PS5 still feels like a more next gen system than the Series X.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
but time will tell how that really develops. But
yeah,
I would agree.
Sadly, just not enough purely next-gen games are out yet, which will define these systems because everything is on the Xbox One and the Series X.
Yep,
and
it's like Gran Turismo 7, right? Delaying it just to dumbify it down for PS4.
I hate it.
I hate it. Component shortages, I'm telling you, it's freakonomics. Just all leads to the other. Brad, what have you been playing, man?
I wanted to mention two things. The first thing will be a little quicker. Sora was released on Smash Brothers Ultimate, and Smash Ultimate, I don't play it often, but when I do, if the fucking Switch isn't great, as you turn it on, you click Smash, and it's up, you're running. It was already updated when I tried to get in there, and Sora, I guess I bought the Game Pass because Sora was instantly playable.
Heck yeah.
And I went in there and I did the entire new DLC Spirit Board thing where it's like challenges to unlock new spirits. Mm-hmm. And that was fun. Overall, I hate Sora.
Really?
Sora as a fighter is very bad in Smash.
Is it because he's floaty?
He's incredibly light, incredibly floaty, and actually kind of slow. Some of his special attacks are cool, but I haven't played a lot of him. But so far, I do hate. I said it without even thinking. I hate Sora as a character. Whereas when I picked up Sephiroth, I'm like, that's fine. I could deal with that. But Sora was like, I don't want no part of this shit.
Damn.
And it just doesn't feel like Sora after playing Kingdom Hearts. But
I'm sorry.
that,
I can see the sadness in your eyes.
Yeah. So Monkey Ball
Even
Banana.
your beard is crying.
Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania came out and let me down tremendously. I mentioned that before.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that, man.
But I have been playing on the GameCube Super Monkey Ball 2 like crazy.
We played that together. All three of us, actually.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and then we also had Jamie and Katie over, and Carly and I, we all did 4-player take turns, and Monkey Ball 2 on the GameCube. I mean, I got one of those fancy HDMI adapters, so it's up on the big screen. It's in widescreen. The GameCube can actually put out, I don't know if it's 720. It might just be 480, but it puts out like an HDMI signal in widescreen, and it looks great.
Yeah.
And 4-player Monkey Ball 2. I played through the entire, through master mode. I had to unlock it all again, but the GameCube controller, my Wavebird, works great. And I feel like a retro gamer using my GameCube, which is odd, but it's superior to the new console Banana Mania for the Xbox. So
Really?
Such a shame.
So fuck it.
Yeah.
I'm like, I already have a game I love. Let's just play it on the GameCube. And I've been thoroughly enjoying it.
That's the beauty of when somebody remakes something and it is shit. I know.
Go play the original DuckTales.
Right. I know on this podcast, a lot of people don't like the new Ghostbusters with all the ladies.
I don't know where you're going with this one.
And what I have to say to the people who don't like that movie is...
You're right.
The old one.
You are doing a bad job of being Josh right now.
You are
Josh. You are a bad Josh.
That is bad,
I'm not
Josh.
I like the new one.
I know.
I thought it was pretty funny. It's not hard to impress me, though. So the old one is always just right there. You can always just watch the old one. You know what I mean? So it sucks that the new one's not good, but it's a cool way to boot up your GameCube again and
You're lucky.
play the old one.
You're lucky Dylan's not here to talk to you about Ghostbusters.
I have been here when I brought it up, and he didn't say anything. So
Okay, he probably was quietly fuming, not drunk enough.
maybe. It also was because we were talking about how I personally think that Wonder Woman 84 really, really hurt me.
I didn't like it. No, I didn't like it either.
It's terrible. And I think it's worse than the Lady Ghostbusters.
I don't think it's that. They're both bad, but not that bad.
Well, getting back to video games, I think that the problem with redoing a game on a new console, especially Nintendo consoles, only speaking of N64 and GameCube, if you're so used to playing a game on that controller, it is impossible to play on a different controller.
I've heard someone even make that argument for Super Mario Kart recently, where like they played it on the Switch and the Super Nintendo Mario Kart felt like garbage. But when they played it on the original hardware with the Super Nintendo controller, it was like, oh, this is perfect. This is what it was supposed to be.
Yeah. I think we all saw that when the 3D All-Stars came out. And we all tried to play.
Oh, yeah. And you can't even play Sunshine. And
Mario 64. And
I beat Galaxy on it, and Galaxy was fine. But
because that's kind of Wii-esque already, right? With the Joy-Cons.
It's closer.
You definitely will need that new Nintendo 64 controller that they're coming out with in order to play these Nintendo 64 games.
If you can get one because of chip shortage.
Well,
I'm very happy because they were talking about the Joy-Cons for the Zelda. Joy-Cons are coming out, like, get them now. They're going to run out. And I still see them in Targets everywhere. I'm like, I'm so happy I didn't spend my money on those.
Yeah, I'm still happy I did because I was able to, at the time I was on a family vacation when they came out. Mm-hmm. So we were all able to play. Luckily, Jamie has given me his password for his Nintendo account, but we were all able to play golf in California when it was raining. So that was very nice.
I didn't buy the Zelda Joy-Cons. I just took a Sharpie and wrote Zelda on mine.
Also, I've been to Dylan's house recently, and it is scary how many different Joy-Cons he has. But, Tom, what have you been playing?
I have been playing Metroid Dread pretty much exclusively now, and thoroughly enjoying it. I have reached the point in the game where I reach in most Metroidvanias where
you don't know where to go.
It's where do I go now? Like, seriously, I've been in every fucking room. Where am I supposed to
shoot everything?
Drop bombs in random hallways. Something will happen.
Now, guys, when talking of Metroid, do we have to refer to it as a Metroidvania game? Because it is
a strict right.
Well, I mean, I think you do because some Metroids aren't Metroidvania games.
That's a good point.
Let's say 2D Metroid. Game. And it's still, I mean, it's great. It's probably my game of the year.
You were about to say decade, it looked like.
No, I'm just kidding. I
want to see a Mario. I want to see a Mario game in Metroidvania. 2D Mario in a Metroidvania style.
Is that not
original
Mario?
No, like where you actually have to like traverse back and forth and get new power-ups.
Yeah.
I don't know if the platforming was tight.
Probably Hotel Mario. I don't know.
Hotel Mario, they did it.
I don't think our boy Shiggy would want that because they've already got it.
Our boy Shiggy. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's how we're referring to Shigeru from now on.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. But not much more to report on that other than I don't know how far I am. I think I'm probably maybe 60% through the game if I had to check my gut.
How many hours have you put in?
I think I'm at like 10 or so.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah. So it's not as short as everyone's saying then. That's cool.
No, maybe if you know where the fuck to go.
So you're saying that you're not just going online and looking for answers. You're playing it like a real video game?
I am, yeah. So, I mean, when I played Bloodstained, which was the last Metroidvania that I played, loved it. Mm-hmm. Brad, you loved it. We loved it.
Myself and my shadow.
Loved it.
Yeah, not that part, but the rest of the game, fantastic.
But they're still updating it too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's crazy. And that one, I did have to consult a guide eventually, only to realize that I had the tool that I needed in my fucking inventory already.
Was it the blood fountain?
It was the swimming gem or whatever it was, shard.
That was weird because you actually had to use a specific shard, which that was like the first time that had happened.
And if you play that game, you get shards like flown at you fucking constantly, and you kind of just kind of like you get sharded constantly, and you just kind of stop paying attention. Really, you think you're getting all the same thing over and over again.
And it wasn't from a boss enemy was the problem,
right? Yeah, it was just from a fucking octopus thing or something. I don't know.
Octopi are the worst.
Octopi. But anyways. guys, that was a nice what you're playing round, and I commend our two Xbots, newly christened over here, for playing all the Game Pass games.
Yeah.
Instead of the sign of the cross, it's still a sign of the cross. It's the Degeneration X.
Yes,
Yeah, you're Degeneration X now, boys.
Oh, thank you.
How about we take a break quick and come back and let's talk some fucking GTA. This is what the people came for.
Greater Toronto area.
Yeah. All right, guys. We'll see you right after these awesome shows from the Greenlit Podcast Network.
Hello, my name is Jonathan Dunn, and I'm inviting you to listen to Our 3 Cents, a weekly podcast where myself and two of my very best gaming chums are counting down our top 100 favourite video games of all time. For all the episodes and information, check out our website, www.our3cents.co.uk.
Fans of video games, history, or video game history will definitely want to listen to Retronauts. Each week, Bob Mackey and myself, that's Jeremy Parrish, dive into the stories behind the greatest games of the past and the history behind the hits of today. Check us out every Monday on the Greenlit Podcast Network.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to the topic of the show. We're still in the throes of celebrating Grand Theft Autoberfest. And guys, let's really get into the shit here. And let's talk ourselves some GTA. But before we do that, Brad, you have a beer, it looks like? Or did you guys pour yourself new beers?
We poured ourselves from Central Waters Brewing. We have the Oktoberfest lager, brewed and canned in Amherst, Wisconsin. There is a new Central Waters tap room here in Milwaukee that is beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, big fan of that new tap room. It looks great. It's in an old church.
Life hack, if you go there, get the half pours because they are very generous and they're pretty much 3/4 pours and for half the price. So
I like that.
There you go.
You heard it here. That's a Hair of the Dogcast exclusive.
Hopefully they're not listening. But if you are, keep it up, Central Waters. Good beer.
Yeah, but it tastes like an Oktoberfest beer. It's not my favorite of them, but it is delicious.
It's good. It's a little bit sweeter than the second one. The second one is still the best.
I'm excited. I think this one might be my favorite when we get to it. We have a couple more to drink, but all right. So the topic.
Yeah. As I mentioned at the top of the show, Grand Theft Auto 3 turned 20 years old on October 22nd. It was originally released on October 22nd, 2001. And I just kind of wanted to have not a super regimented discussion about it, not a Raw Dogs episode, but
Tommy Vercetti was born in this year of this day.
No.
Or was he?
Yeah. But I'm assuming all of us played Grand Theft Auto at some time in our lives.
Yeah.
Okay.
Rite of passage.
Yeah. So I want to know when did you guys first play GTA 3? Was it right at launch? Was it afterwards? I mean, you guys were like embryos at that point, right? 20 years ago?
Yeah, I was still living in my dad's balls for sure.
We didn't get Grand Theft Auto 3 in my house when it came out. And I don't know if we ever owned Grand Theft Auto 3. We might have gotten it on the cheap much later. But I did play it at friends' houses, and I was blown away by the open-ended environment, which the open world aspects of Grand Theft Auto 3 was a game changer for not only the series, obviously, but for games in general. I mean, open world became the name of the game, and this was one of the games that pushed the envelope in a big way. I played Grand Theft Auto 3 later on and loved it, but not day one.
Yeah, I think it was the same situation. I went over to a friend's house. I have a physical copy of the game. I don't know if I borrowed that. My parents definitely, being raised Catholic, definitely never let me play that.
It's a very anti-Catholic game.
So us over here, Tom, we had to worry about our parents finding this game because it was seriously a game that was talked about as a negative thing in the news. I guess Canada might have been different for you.
My parents gave up after they finally allowed me to buy Mortal Kombat. So, my
there's no hope for this kid anymore.
No, he's gone.
I forget you're older than me. How old were you in 2001?
I'm only 4 years older than you.
Okay.
So it's not like a huge difference, but I didn't own it. My brother had it, and my brother was older than me. He had his PS2. He bought it, so I don't even think my folks knew about it. So it was just killing hookers and killing cops and blowing people up from the rooftop with a missile launcher. You had a really good summary of it. It really did change the way you play a game.
Yeah.
Even if you just didn't care about the story, just running around stealing cars was fun when you were young.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I think this might have been one of the, at least in my experience, one of the first games where the story doesn't necessarily matter. Like, so many people play Skyrim and they never finish the story. Grand Theft Auto 3, to speak about that one directly, the story was not the strong point. Your main character is a wet paper bag. He doesn't say anything.
Claude?
Claude.
Or so he is, monikered. He didn't actually have a name in the
strong silent type.
Exactly.
Tom, what was your experience with Grand Theft Auto 3?
My experience was I had originally played GTA 1 and 2 at my buddy's house, like the top-down PC games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Back in the day, and he was a fan, and I tried playing them. I think I had a couple demos, for PC, and I didn't really get into them much at all. The top-down thing was just a little too hard to play.
Yeah, that's a different thing.
It is. But my buddy was fucking just all up in it, and
any way he could kill a hooker.
Yeah,
2D, 3D, doesn't matter. It's all the same.
Yeah, there was something about Grand Theft Auto 3 where I was reading magazines and I'm like, wow, this looks, I know GTA really wasn't for me, but I'm like, this looks actually really kind of interesting. And there were some magazines that were really hot on it, just the preview coverage.
Did they have GTA and Playboy?
I just read it for the article, so obviously,
Well, this
probably
game
was in there, to be completely honest.
This game definitely had the Mortal Kombat factor, the shock factor. It's pushing the boundaries, it's pushing the limits, and plus, when they just describe you can do anything, and what's so clickbaitable for news outlets is I just saw my kid kill a hooker, and that's still what we talk about because it's funny and not funny in the real world, but it's just like that's all people want to mention. But you can also follow traffic laws. You can get a job as a taxi driver. You can just do your job.
You can pay hookers to have sex with you and not kill them.
This isn't Canada.
Oh,
right. That doesn't happen in the U.S. Come on, man.
The Canadian version's different.
But I do remember. So this game came out at a time when I think Final Fantasy X was released, Metal Gear Solid 2 was released, and then this game was kind of like a tertiary game for me. I'm like, okay, I don't really know what this is. It looks kind of cool. It's getting some buzz. I'll get it. And it quickly turned into like, holy shit, this is the best, like the coolest fucking game I've ever played. It was definitely my first foray into like a true, I guess, open world game and just like a sandbox, And I remember like none of my friends really knew about the game. So, this game survived on word of mouth almost exclusively when it came out. And I was one of the people just evangelizing from the hills. Like, you have to play this game. Like, you can do anything. You can drive any car. It's got a great, sense of humor. I did kind of like the presentation of the cinematics at the time, for 2001. Yeah, it was okay.
It was cinematic.
Yeah, you had some, actual voice actors in there. Your fucking Robert Loggia and Frank Vincent. I mean, dude, R.I.P. Great.
The fact that the world was open. Drive anywhere on the map you want.
Yeah.
If you see a car, you can steal it. And I mean, something that started off in 3 and they've only refined more is like, there's nothing like getting into a car and listening to radio stations and switching the radio around. That's one of the things that always tickled my fancy. You like, if you're in a chase, you just listen to whatever, and eventually you're just listening to like a radio station you wouldn't listen to, and the little like spoof commercials, the curated radio selections. That is quintessential to me in Grand Theft Auto.
Yes, and that was a new concept for me. The whole radio station. Some games had done that before, but it was just kind of like, it seemed like a tacked on, select a couple songs kind of thing. But here you actually had radio stations with personality. Each one had a personality. Right. And I played this game before I ever saw the movie Scarface with Al Pacino. And when I finally watched Scarface, that's when I realized, oh shit, like what was was it Flashback FM or something? It was basically the entire Scarface soundtrack. Yeah. So when I heard like Buzz Buzz Yayo in the movie, I was like, holy shit, this movie's ahead of its time.
Dude, Scarface is referencing Grand Theft Auto.
Right. How does this happen?
The marketing for this did a very good job. I remember finding that one spot where you can launch your car off a ramp and it turns everything into slow motion, and there's that beautiful like opera Italian song playing.
Yeah.
And I remember finding that spot in the game and wanting to find that song while it was playing, and wanting to ramp and replicate the marketing.
And I remember you doing this. You were just flying through the air. Opera was going. You had a baseball bat clubbing the hooker, listening to opera going in slow motion. It was cinematic.
Yeah, but that was just last Wednesday,
and
in Texas.
Yes,
and it's also great. Pushing the limits, which is fun because you have the stars, and you'll have different levels of police following you. Eventually, it's like they're sending in tanks and stuff.
FBI.
Yeah, that's the wanted level.
And the wanted level. And then you can also just enter cheat codes, which I'm so happy that cheat codes used to be more of a thing, because, all right, I'll just have a tank. And then eventually you learn how you can fly the tank by shooting it a certain direction. You get into the baseball field, and that's just what you do some days. And when you find the right car, I forget the names of the cars, but there was like a couple of really nice sports cars that were very fast.
Yeah, there was one that was definitely the Dodge Viper. I forgot what they called it.
Dodge Viper.
And conversely, sometimes the only thing you can steal when you need a car is the biggest like fucking clunker.
Yeah.
And it's still great.
Yeah.
Because you're like, all right, I'm driving the garbage truck in this getaway right now. That's what I got. And there's something super defining about that gameplay experience.
And even at the time, because it was so different, you know, you're walking around and you see the same 4 NPCs times 7 just walking by you. And realistically, there's still only like 10 people on screen. But, you know, as a kid, it's like,
there's so many people here.
I'm in a real city right now.
Yeah. I'm actually in Newark, New Jersey.
Yeah, man.
I can't believe it.
Yeah, Liberty City. The game took place in Liberty City, which to me was always New York, I guess.
Same.
It was very liberating, though.
Yes, it was. But yeah, the game had some fantastic, or they did have some pretty fantastic TV promos, I remember.
And how about those load times, boys? Do you remember the load times on that game?
I don't remember the load times on 3.
They were so fucking long. Like, you could literally just go make dinner and come back, and it was halfway.
Well, and that's I guess been part of Grand Theft Auto for a while, because I know Grand Theft Auto 5, whenever I want to boot that up, there is the most obscene loading time.
The initial load time. Yeah, that seems to be like the Rockstar will literally front load the loading.
Everything.
Yeah.
Can you imagine an actual like next gen GTA where you turn it on and you're playing right away? That's gonna be.
Did you hear about the guy who like broke GTA 5 and went and hacked into it and found out that most of their load times is like linking to the internet to make sure you don't have DLC or do have DLC?
Oh, really?
Yeah, and the guy was like, if they just didn't do this, the load time would be like a minute.
Yeah.
Instead of 6.5.
Yeah.
Which is wild. And I'm pretty sure they gave that guy money and fixed it after that happened.
Do you think once they come out with the next gen GTA, it'll actually fit on the stock PS5 hard drive and the stock Xbox One X or Series X hard drive? No. It's going to be too big.
If Flight Simulator can't do it,
it'll come with the 64 DD attachment.
Yeah. I think you're being pretty optimistic that there's going to be another GTA, but
it'll be for like PlayStation 17.
You mean they haven't released the logo yet with a generic picture of a city in the background?
and a chick in a bikini?
Yeah. It's just a chick in a bikini, yep. Yeah. It's just a Twitter update. It's a phone. It's just like loading Grand Theft Auto 6.
Can you imagine Red Dead Redemption 3? It's a horse in a bikini.
Are we going to talk about...
Lindsay Lohan's like, wait a second.
Are we going to talk about Lindsay Lohan?
Sarah Jessica Parker's like, wait a minute.
We just opened up from Third Space Brewing Oktoberfest. It's a Marzen-style lager, and it looks delicious.
I'm sensing a pattern here.
Yes, it is Grand Theft Oktoberfest.
This one's a little bit darker than the previous two.
Yeah, that is a good Oktoberfest. I do have some in my fridge. I should have grabbed one. I am, however, drinking a beer from Eagle Park Brewery. It is called You Like Jazz, and it's a good IPA.
Do you know what You Like Jazz references?
Can I take a guess?
Probably something.
Go ahead, Jamie.
Is it about jazz?
Funnily enough, no.
What movie?
I guess it's a reference from a TV show. It's propositioning someone for a three-way. You ask them if you like jazz, and if they say they do, that means they want to have a three-way.
Because of all the Z's.
Jazz.
Is it because this is a triple hopped?
Yep, that would explain it.
Wasn't that a Vin Diesel movie? Triple Hop?
Triple hopped.
No, that was a James Corden film about
I think
an
that was
Easter
Ice
bunny.
Cube. Yeah.
Tom, I'm surprised you're drinking an IPA over there, man.
Thanks, guys. I'm getting progressive with this shit.
For your last one, Tom, you should open up the Oktoberfest I gave you.
Okay.
For your next one. Yeah.
Absolutely. Everything's been delicious, guys, tonight. So, like I mentioned earlier, 2001 for PS2 was one of its seminal years. And for this game to come out, amongst the juggernauts of your Metal Gear Solid 2s, Final Fantasy 10s, whatever else came out, your Madden 2002s, whatever, it still became the best-selling game of 2001 on
defining for that console.
Yeah, absolutely, yes, for that platform. So that is saying something. The thing caught on like fire, not just positive word of mouth, but also there's a lot of controversy. The series would be no stranger to controversy through the years, but you were talking about the infamous hooker thing, but the fact that you could just wreak mayhem across the city.
I still don't understand all of the hot coffee controversy.
That's only for San Andreas.
Well, I know it's only for San Andreas, but how is it that controversial in a game where you can literally kill anybody? They're like, oh, there's a sex scene in an area?
Well,
it's because
it wasn't even
US,
really
baby. We can kill people.
It wasn't even really a sex scene anyway.
It was like an implied sex scene, right?
It was an implied. It allowed you, from what I remember,
dry humping.
and maybe you have a better recollection of this. When I was doing San Andreas and PC with Hot Coffee Mod, it allowed you to be in the car, but all you saw was pixelated people waving their arms.
So it's like The Sims.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you could take them. You took a woman on a date. You could take her back to your house, and you were on the bed, and you could do simulated sex scenes. You're all fully clothed.
Yeah, a lot of dry humping went on.
Yeah,
it's amazing how tame that seems now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
I heard there's a new latte patch for GTA 5. It's
8 inches long. It's a latte.
Yeah. Hey-o.
I had to laugh at that. I'm sorry. I don't know why.
Compulsory.
Yeah. So just a fantastic game for its time. And then we get into some of the sequels, and it still floors me that it only kind of took a year for them to whip up Vice City, which apparently Brad really likes. It is I think the only Grand Theft Auto I have not finished.
Oh, that breaks my heart. Vice City is defining of Grand Theft Auto in my eyes.
I never finished it either. I remember loving it, but I never finished it.
I definitely finished 3, and I finished Vice City. San Andreas was the one that I didn't finish.
What about 5?
5 I haven't played. 4 I have played, and I got to a point where I was robbing a bank, and the reason I remember it so vividly is because I played it so many times and just kept dying that I just gave up.
Yeah.
I think one of the strengths of Grand Theft Auto is emulating a time and a place. Mm-hmm. And, there's one thing about it being in modern times, and that's fine, but something about San Andreas as a time and a place, or Vice City is the 80s, and it started it was right at this time that I Love the 80s came out, and I had a love affair with the 80s and 80s music. Mm-hmm. And
there was a great an 80s movement, revivalist thing going on,
and this was a part of it. And I mean, honestly, if Grand Theft Auto 6 took place in the 70s, I think that would be such a strong decision.
That would be fantastic.
I think it would be fantastic, because there's something missing, I think, partially with San Andreas, and then with 4 and 5, where the radio stations don't evoke such a strong feeling from me, because it's how I feel about modern day radio, where I don't want to listen to any of it. Whereas instead, there's something about a time capsule. And also, it's just so full of they can pull from references, and I know that other games do this, but Vice City is the humor, the characters, everything that they could pull from created such a vibrant a universe. And San Andreas didn't draw me in because I was like, I don't want to play something in a modern-ish setting. And then 4, I tried playing 4, and it was such a turnoff because boring Russian guy did nothing for me. 5 was able to bring me in because of the variety of characters, but Vice City is still like my best feelings about Grand Theft Auto.
5 almost took... It was a hodgepodge of the best parts of the different versions of GTA. If you really think about it, right? Like, it's been like 2 years since 3 years, 4 years since I've played 5. But Michael or whatever his name is, that's Vice City. Then you have Hick, that's more of the modern. It is kind of a hodgepodge.
To me, the Hick represents more Vice City to me.
Really? Okay.
I don't know. He's more irreverent and unhinged, but I guess Vercetti is kind of more like...
He's more 80s, like, he's like...
He's really Yoda.
But you're right. They do all evoke different aspects because I also forget what's the black dude's name.
I was trying to remember.
Franklin.
Franklin. GTA 5. Yes.
Yeah, because Franklin definitely gave me San Andreas vibes.
Totally.
Yeah. And I don't know. Michael was giving me more like Grand Theft Auto 3, like Claude vibes, kind of just like a more like classic boring type character. But Trevor is crazy and unhinged, and to me that is more Vice City.
I think they confirmed that they were trying to basically cover the 3 kinds of GTA players, or the 3 mindsets that people play in. You got Michael just going through the missions. Franklin, definitely the GTA, San Andreas vibes,
building up like an RPG character a little bit.
Yep. And then Trevor represented just the maniac, the fucking...
I'm driving on a scooter naked with someone that's a hostage.
And then so when you're playing as each of the characters, you kind of, you're more likely to role play as that character's personality. So I know, like, for me, I mean, whenever I played with Trevor, I was more apt just to fucking throw a rocket launcher at anything, or just kick all the puppies. And
when I was Michael, I was just pissed off that I was Danny Tamborelli's dad.
I was just upset right.
Speaking of invoking eras in GTA, let's hope that if they do make a GTA 6, which they probably will, they don't invoke 2020. Talk about a boring ass game, walking around on empty streets, stealing cars.
I could imagine a lot of good radio dialogue and NPC dialogue about masks, and a lot of great missions about anti-vaxxers and vaxxers.
And it would be an easy game to make because you would need no NPCs.
What I need you to do on this mission is go out there and steal a catalytic converter from a Kia Soul.
Right.
And then steal it afterwards so that we could take it to the chop shop.
It would be like the Mia Spirit or something would be the name of the car. Easiest car to steal. That'd be the first mission of the game.
That's a good...
Go ahead, Jamie.
That's just a really good point, Brad, that you brought up. I don't know if you meant it to be like off the cuff, but all the car names in all the games, you kind of tell what they were because they would change like 1 or 2 letters. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
It was hilarious.
Vaj diaper.
The scooter was it's probably the scooter. Remember that? I don't think that's very PC anymore, but it was the Faggio.
No, that's not PC anymore.
Getting to the whole, like, what would a GTA be now? I know in interviews, I think Dan Houser, the writing of the Houser brothers, the founders of Rockstar, when people would ask him, like, why isn't there a GTA 6? I think a lot of the charm of the GTA games was a satirical take on U.S. culture through the eyes of Brits, people who who are not native Americans. And I think he always said, like, how can we satirize this time period when this whole time period is like a satirization of itself? How do you get crazier than what's happening right now? I don't like to comment on rumors and speculation unless it's the news, but I've heard that the next GTA 6 may go back to Vice City.
It's kind of like what's going on with Black Mirror, that Netflix series, because they said we can't do a new season. We can't do a new season for a while. They just put up like a little bus station thing, and that was just the new season. It was just like an open like window. It's like this is soon. Yeah, this is what's going on already. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I think it would be extremely exciting if they did take it to a different time frame. Even you could take it back further. I wouldn't like 70s would be great. 60s, take it to the 50s, take it to the 40s. Like there is opportunity for open world gameplay. You can still steal vehicles.
Sure.
I mean, Red Dead Redemption is arguably a Grand Theft Auto style game.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I love me some Red Dead. And they already did GTA.
Horses.
They did GTA 1969, which was kind of a spin-off, maybe an expansion pack for the original GTA 2. So that'd be cool. Have like a No One Lives Forever kind of vibe, swinging Austin Powers kind of aesthetic.
I love your idea, Brad, like the 70s. I think that would be the perfect era.
I would love to have a mission where you deliver cocaine to John Travolta on the set of Saturday Night Fever, even though I know that wasn't filmed in the 70s, but...
Yeah, I'd rather see it on Grease. Him and Olivia Newton-John.
You'd rather see cocaine on Grease?
And you were talking about like how satire is like one of the goals of the Grand Theft Auto series, and it's hard to do it in a modern take. And one of the things that, going back to Vice City, was so much fun was the satirizing of all of it, all of the different like radio stations, the people, the culture, the fact that they created their own 80s metal band called Love Fist.
Was it okay? I thought Stink Fist, and I'm like, no, that's a Tool song.
That's a Tool.
Love Fist, and their songs are great. Do you think we look like girls? Like their music is great, and at one point you have to drive their limo, and you're like helping a porno director. Like,
I forgot about.
There's so many really fun missions, and then also, side missions. There's the taxi cab missions. There's even police missions. There is piloting little RC cars or remote control helicopters.
Was there ever a point in that game where they straight up like just busted into Phil Collins in the air tonight?
I think there was a similar song to it.
I thought so too.
If there was, Dom would have tried to sync it up over a jump over a river at some point.
Absolutely, in slow motion.
Clubbing a hooker.
I can feel it. And you would have been like, damn it, I was too early this time. Yeah.
And it always happens.
I think
there's always,
out of the new remastered trilogy that we talked about in the news, I think I'm most excited to play Vice City, just to finally give it a chance. I'm not sure how far I got the last time I played it.
It's been so long since I've played Vice City. I've kind of forgotten about it. Not that it's a bad game, but it's been so long. And talking about all this is just drumming up some really good memories.
And for me, I think
I'm with you, Tom. Yeah.
One of the reasons I didn't play it was, it only came out a year after GTA 3, and I think I might have GTA 3'd myself out up until that point. And I know I was dating a girl at the time that she was waiting in line for the game, and I wasn't. And I was just like, I've had my fill, and I know the earlier games, the difficulty curve was insane. So like every mission was progressively more difficult. And I mean, there were some very tough missions, and like to the point where the final missions were just so infuriating. Where I think I was just like, okay, I'm done. I'm done for a while. I can't do this again. And thankfully, with San Andreas and the newer generations of consoles, I think they got something right where it was a more uniform kind of difficulty curve. You would have a pretty difficult mission, and then the next mission would be something like drive this package to this place,
parallel park this garbage truck in a parking lot.
Right. Yeah. So it wasn't constantly frustrating, but the one thing I did like about the earlier games was you could kind of game the missions a little bit, because I think there was one where I knew where the mission was going to take you, and I knew I needed a fast car at a certain point. Yep. So I was able to, before I started the mission, park a fast car like halfway where I knew the route that the guy I was chasing was supposed to go, where I could just I was chasing the guy in my beat up car. I was going to lose the mission, but since I parked the fast car where it needed to be, I could just hop in the Viper and, finish the mission.
Wild how an open world game can sometimes become a puzzle game, like a puzzle solver, just by simply solving it with a fast car parked in the middle because you played it so many times.
Yes. Yep. I remember also parking a big ass bus just to block an off ramp, so I knew the guy could not.
Right.
That's what I was going to mention, because that's something you could do too. If you know where someone's loading or going.
Yes.
Yep. All right. Well, this is exactly where your motorcycle wants to go. There's a bus there.
This franchise legitimately revolutionized the open world genre. And I really want them to come out with 6 just to see. Because I know the reason they haven't come out with anything is because
they have one of the most lucrative games ever.
Yeah, well, that, and it's just like they can just keep adding on to it. They didn't have the internet before.
It's a real fucking shame. They're going to re-release it again for the PS5 with a couple more features. This was an opportunity. You have the engine, everything's working. Release a new story with these characters, a new 10-hour story. You can sell it as a next-gen game then if you do that. And why not? Get those voice actors together. Just use the same engine, the same fucking assets. Here's a new 10-hour campaign. People would eat it up. Why wouldn't they take that time?
And all they have to do is flick the switch to not throttle it back for resolution.
Yeah.
Right?
And I think that was on the track they were going, because I think some of the original actors in GTA 5 hinted as much. They might have even recorded some motion cap and dialogue for potential expansions. And GTA Online, even though it launched very broken, very haphazard, has turned into just a fucking cash cow. And you're right. I mean, that's the prime reason we're not getting a GTA 6 anytime fucking soon.
Do any of you guys, do you or have you played GTA Online?
It didn't work for me when I played it.
I tried only at the beginning.
The tutorial was broken as fuck.
Quite honestly, I've stopped playing online.
Yeah.
Like, there's no appeal to it for me. I don't want to get yelled at by a 10-year-old girl or boy. I can't tell which one
in that order.
That's a good point. I used to really enjoy online gaming. Not so much anymore, because there can be a game where, let's say GTA 5 online wasn't broken. The purity is there. You have fun. And then the hackers and the cheaters come in and everyone's yelling. It
needs to be, for me to play online games, a cooperative experience because I haven't done it since Destiny, but when you have a set of homies you want to get on there with. Now, if Grand Theft Auto 5 had online cooperative missions where all us four could get on, and we all had different missions, like things we had to do in a certain bank heist or something, like Reservoir Dogs. Yeah. And then Jamie does his classic thing where he just shoots everybody. And it'd be hilarious. Can you imagine how funny that would be? Like, why'd you shoot everyone? He's like, I don't know, they moved. It'd be so funny.
Yeah.
I didn't know the safety was off.
But that's not what online gaming is. It is strangers in a situation, and I don't play that as much.
Or get a bunch of people together and you role play as Alec Baldwin.
Too soon.
If there was
my brother is working on that set. It is way too soon.
If there was a modern GTA 6, that would be a mission where there'd be someone on
my brother.
Your brother?
There'd be somebody on a film set where this actor shot someone. Get him off the set quick.
Let's explore this. Has he said anything? Okay, we're talking about the movie Rust.
Brother?
Yeah. Have you talked to him at all?
He wasn't in the room.
Well, it was because it was outside, right?
Yeah, so he doesn't know what happened. They're keeping it hush-hush, but
I'm glad he's
Alec
okay.
Baldwin is obviously fucking devastated.
Yeah, of course.
Right.
It's just like when Michael Massey accidentally killed Brandon Lee on the set of The Crow.
Yeah,
that dude was fucked up for 20 years.
That was the first thing I thought of when the news broke.
Just kidding. Jesus.
When the news broke, I immediately was like, I have to call my brother, and I called him.
I had no idea he was working on that.
And then I had to call my mom, and she was like, he literally texted us the moment it happened.
That's crazy,
to
dude.
let us know that he was okay.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Wow.
okay, good. Might have been too soon.
Right. But it might show up in GTA 6. Who knows?
You never know.
Yeah, get this actor off set quick. An accident happened, and then the cops are chasing you. I don't know. That's very much a GTA mission.
Totally is.
Yeah. Sorry to derail the conversation, but I thought let's explore that a little bit. Dom,
No, it's fine.
I apologize.
I'm glad your brother's okay. I had no idea he was working on that.
Yeah.
set.
Yeah.
Wild shit.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you guys, San Andreas. All right. What are your thoughts on that game?
I think San Andreas was kind of the next evolution from, Vice City kind of started. It just felt like a fuller world. I remember not minding the story. I thought it was fairly decent.
Yeah.
It was the
Jamie,
it was-
let me say this. As 4 white males sitting in a room together, San Andreas fucking blew my mind.
Because you'd never ridden a bicycle?
No.
a lowrider bicycle.
Not in a GTA game.
Yeah.
And there was something
pretty
about
cool.
riding a bicycle through the streets of Compton
Yeah.
that fucking really got me. I was like, I can cut my hair.
Yeah.
I can style it in any way.
You can
I've
work out.
seen House Party. I can have a House Party haircut. Hell yeah. This is dope.
You know what took me away from the game was absolutely not the world building. I was into all of that. But what this game did was it was the natural progression of the engine and the system and pushing it to a different limit where it was about RPG. It was about your character can get fat, your character needs haircuts. And these were things that at the time 100% not interested in a Grand Theft Auto game. And also I was so in love with a time period where if it was San Andreas 1980s, I would have been like, fuck yes, I will ride that bike through Compton listening to fucking 80s music, but on my blaster,
Right.
But I don't know. There was so much built up in the publications I was reading at the time about the RPG elements and how the system would be different that I didn't like it. And also I was like, there's no 80s soundtrack, which sounds stupid, but that was a major draw to me. And the fact that it was just like more modern music, definitely I wasn't drawn to the game as much,
I think with me, it was the first time I played a GTA game not on a console. So that was, I want to say that was like maybe early college days for me. So no console, only had my PC. So that was the game that I played. And I played a lot of it. So I actually have a lot of fond memories of the game. Was it the best game? No. Was it a fun game? For sure. It was that next evolution of GTA or the engine, like you said, right?
It's Assassin's Creed Rogue. It's like maybe Assassin's Creed needs to evolve.
I totally
and then
disagree.
They shit the bed with 4.
You totally disagree.
Yeah,
was
for
gonna
me,
say,
San Andreas is my favorite, just because as a white Midwestern kid growing up in the 80s and the early 90s being my high school years, and listening to all the music on the soundtrack, just getting into like NWA and the Boys in the Hood aesthetic, Straight Outta Compton, Menace to Society. That was just my fucking jam. And to go back to that period of time. So it's kind of like you, Brad, you like the 80s thing. I mean, for me, if I could go back to any period of time, in my lifetime, it'd probably be the early 90s. Yeah, I fucking adored that game. I think it was a little too big for its britches. It was definitely the biggest GTA. I think it's still the biggest GTA.
Definitely.
As far as landmass. And where you had 3 cities, Los Santos, LA, San Fierro, San Francisco, and then Las Venturas. You had to go to Vegas. And then all the farmland in between. Yeah, there was just, I love the RPG. I'm a sucker for RPG elements, and I really enjoyed the game a lot. I don't think it was the strongest story for sure, but
Right. There are times where I was like, damn, the story's real good. But it also introduced the swimming element
Yeah.
which I was like, heck yeah, finally, I'm
right?
tired of falling into a river and being like, wasted.
Right.
And then I'm like, really? Like, this guy just can't swim?
I forgot about
Really?
that. Completely forgot
This
about that.
guy's murdering people left and right. You can't tread water.
Right.
And it gave me that, like, that moment in Robin Hood Men in Tights where the guy's just like flopping in a puddle and he's like, I'm drowning. And I'm like, this isn't the Mississippi, dude.
He didn't get no
you could
tolls
get out
for
of there.
his roles.
Yeah.
I don't think I was ready for the RPG elements myself.
Yeah, maybe.
I wasn't. I eventually did come around and want more of that, but
Yeah. Some of it was tedious. I think I remember, having to eat right and fucking, I don't know, if you really wanted to run fast, you had to work out, kind of consistently.
That scared me when I read that. Like, my character can be slower if I'm not taking care of myself, or eating the right foods. I'm like, I don't have to worry about that when I'm playing a game.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. CJ needs food badly.
Yeah. I think we are all people who drink a lot of beer. So that is a scary element.
Yes.
And there is a loose interconnectedness to the Grand Theft Auto games, which is kind of fun when like a radio DJ from, Vice City pops up in, I forget what game it was. I don't know if it was San Andreas or maybe 5.
I think it's 5.
Because Laszlo is like the cool 80s rocker, and then he's just like this washed up old 80s dude in the later one.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll hear some NPCs mention about like the guy from 4, and there is a loose interconnectedness that I think they could have more fun with exploring. But I also haven't played the PSP stories games, which I think do a lot of more
Chinatown.
Yeah.
The DS.
There's Vice City Stories or something.
Yeah, Liberty City Stories.
Liberty, yeah.
And Vice City Stories. I had Liberty City Stories, which was like this PSP version of GTA 3 for my PSP. I don't know if you guys ever... Brad, you said you didn't play those, or...
No, I've never played them.
I played both
I haven't played any of the side stories.
Liberty and Vice City Stories.
Did you play them on a PSP?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, like I didn't really get too far in those games. Like I thought it was, wow, they really like recreated this game on this portable console. It was like, the Proto Switch. Like, oh my God, this is great. But the load time, I kind of remember the load times being just insane. It like in the middle of driving, the UMD disc couldn't stream, enough data like the DVD on the PS2 that you would be driving and all of a sudden it would just like hitch and you just have to like wait.
Yeah, because you're turning,
things are
you're making
loading
a
in.
left onto a new street, and it has to load.
Yeah,
and just how those games played, they played like ass. They really did.
Well,
I was
the PSP
so jacked.
fucking thumb.
Oh
like,
yeah, the nub.
Oh,
I was so jacked for that. It's like, oh man, I'm gonna play GTA on the go.
While I'm stealing cars, I can play it.
Yeah.
right. Yes. Yeah.
And it was poop.
It was a little poop.
It was a little bit of poop smudge on your shoe. I think it was good for what it was, but
yeah, exactly.
If you want to steal cars and kill hookers on the go, it was fantastic. But if you wanted the true experience,
I agree.
I feel like the true experience is the getting stars to get away in every single one of these games.
Which
you always want, like there's an element. So back when I was managing United at the airport, my employees would bring in their PS5s and their Xboxes, depending on like which shift it was. For whatever reason, the morning people always liked the Xboxes and the night people always liked the PlayStations. I don't know why.
Weird.
Night and day.
The yin yang.
Yeah, whatever it is, but
werewolves and vampires.
They would always bring in their consoles, and I would say, as long as you're getting these planes out on time, I don't give a shit.
And they were like, I am getting these planes
play
out
whatever the
in
hell you want.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
there's a big screen TV in our break room. As long as you're getting these planes out on time, I do not care.
Speaking of planes, not to sidetrack your story.
Here's the thing, right? They were always playing GTA 5. Didn't matter day or night. It was always, because that's the game where you can just like hop on real quick and be like, I'm just gonna do some mayhem for the next 30 minutes, and then when the pilots call in, they're like, we're gonna be on the ground in 5 minutes, so be out there when we arrive, and that's all you need is that. Boom.
You're pushing
pause
10,
the
baby.
game, get outside.
What was the first GTA to introduce flying planes. Was that San Andreas?
No, Vice City had planes.
Did it?
Okay.
Vice City had planes.
I know San Andreas had a biplane at least.
Oh yeah.
That was definitely San Andreas had one, but I don't know about Vice City.
That's always one of my favorite parts of the kind of the newer GTAs is when they introduce the flying.
It's like fast
mechanic.
travel. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And not only that, just land your Cessna on the highway, jump out and steal a car. It's just so outlandish.
Yeah.
It's a great time.
Same here, man. I loved getting the plane in any of those games where you're like, yes, finally.
Or like breaking into the airport and stealing like a passenger plane. That's always great fun. The FBI's after you.
Yeah.
Vice,
you have to take
Vice
off
City
and
mostly had
chasing.
helicopters.
Oh, okay.
Okay, sure.
They did also have
They had a skimmer.
a seaplane. They had a seaplane.
a skimmer. So
not a regular like takeoff plane, but helicopters and seaplanes. Okay. Sorry, I just did the quick research.
Nice. Yeah. I like the strategy guide, Brad.
Yeah,
I like it a lot.
it's actually surprisingly thin for how much is in the game. So I remember the first time I played Vice City, I almost beat it 100% in 2 days. And
What?
No, I just sat down. I had a couple days off, but I had a paper
It
route
doesn't
at the
matter.
time.
That's fucking crazy.
I had a paper
I
route.
love right now that you are wearing a Porco Rosso t-shirt where he's sitting in a plane giving a thumbs up. Love it. Anyway, keep going.
I was also young enough to still have a paper route, and it was cold enough when I was playing the game that my mom would drop me off and I would run a couple blocks and then she would pick me up. And I had just played so much Grand Theft Auto. She dropped me off and I got out of the vehicle. My first thought was I should find another vehicle. And turns out I was just going to deliver papers and run on the street. But my first thought was I need to find something to drive.
Could you imagine how influential San Andreas would have been to you during that paper route?
I would have just stolen a bicycle.
Yeah.
And what's crazy, folks, is that this was only 5 years ago.
It was 5 days ago.
The paper route is lucrative now, okay?
That's so weird.
Tom,
Yes.
are you drinking a beer right now?
I'm about to get one.
We are about to drink this one, and I think you should join in.
I'll be right
bet.
So, while Tom is gone, we're going to describe this beer. This is from Venture Brewing out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, which I'm surprised it's Milwaukee because it feels like Tosa, but those lines are weird.
I was going to say, I've never heard of these guys.
You've never heard of Venture? You're joking.
No.
Okay.
It's right next to the hospital that your wife works at.
Venture is spelled Vennture, like a Venn diagram venture.
No, that's how you spell it.
Oh, no, like there's two N's.
Yeah.
This isn't the Canadian spelling.
Oh, fuck.
Okay.
Where's the U?
But this has the crazy name of Oktoberfest, and it's an Oktoberfest.
What?
And
No, slow down.
I know. It doesn't say a lot on here, actually. It's got a pumpkin with a guy in a pumpkin mask, or it's a pumpkin head, and that's it. There's no descriptions, but I've had this before, and it is fantastic.
I am looking forward to this so hard.
Somebody should just call an IPA an Oktoberfest and really blow people's minds.
Wow, Oktoberfest isn't a style of beer. I mean,
There's no nuts
Well, it's a
in this at all.
Marzen.
there's Marzen or there's Fest beers,
Yeah.
but like if you just say this is our Oktoberfest, it's an IPA.
Yeah.
We don't fucking care.
It's a light,
Right.
crisp lager.
We brewed it in October.
Cheers.
Cheers, everybody.
Prost,
and cheers to you
everybody.
out there. Happy Grand Theft Autoberfest.
Grand Theft Oktoberfest.
Yeah, and just a side note, San Andreas is the best-selling PS2 game of all time with over
No
27.5 million copies sold. So,
Wow.
Did you say 7.2 million copies?
27.5 million.
27. Holy shit.
That's a
I
big
was going to
jump.
say 7.2 is not that much. I feel like
Not compared to maybe another title in the series, for sure.
Right.
So, GTA 4... It doesn't sound like this is a
Edit this
weird
part
dog.
out.
Like this is a weird animal. Like I really liked GTA 4 when it came out, and I
Really?
thought it had great expansions. Like
I've never met
media
anyone that's
expansions.
loved 4.
I couldn't even. I tried to make it work. I was ready to make it work.
Me too.
I'm like, I'm here. Let's make this relationship happen.
I
And
think-
GTA 4 was not ready for me.
Was it?
maybe they tried too hard to make it too real life.
It was darker. It was a
'cause,
darker
like
story.
you could get drunk and then get in a car, and it was hard to drive a car.
That's fine.
And as
That's
fine
called
as-
Wisconsin.
Yeah, that's been
but
my
at
life
the
for
same-
3 years.
But at the same time, it's like I can drive drunk better than this.
Totally.
I don't know. GTA 4
Was it the
wasn't
protagonist?
sexy. I mean, the main character name, what's his name? Nikolai?
Nikolai,
I'm Nico
yeah.
Bellic.
Nico
I hate
Bellic.
your fucking country.
There is no lady in a bikini on this.
That's why. I did.
There you go.
This game.
Nico Bellic is not the sexy kind of like Russian Serbian style
He's kind of
gangster.
Euro trash.
No,
She's
but
a
you
little
can
too
take
old.
women
He's Euro
bowling.
trash.
Well, you can take women bowling, but main character of San Andreas is Carl, right? No.
Yeah, CJ.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Carl
You have,
Johnson.
you have CJ, and you have Versetti. Even Claude's got like an Elvis thing going on. Nico was not cool. He was never cool in my eyes. I tried playing it, and it did switch to a more realistic gameplay. And the cars didn't control the way I wanted to. It's either got to be like arcadey or not. Yeah. And I don't know. Everything about 4... It wasn't. I guess it just wasn't fun because it felt too realistic at first. And if you don't get your claws in me right away, I'm gonna wander around. Mm-hmm. And it didn't feel enough like the Grand Theft Auto I wanted to work.
I agree. I was so jacked for 4 when I had my PS3.
Yeah.
It was terrible. And not only that, the
Did you
graphics,
wait? No.
the
So
graphics
did you
were
guys
terrible.
not like the game when you were actually playing it, where there was no GTA 5? Was this like all in hindsight, or
No,
were you actually
this-
like playing this and you're like, I don't like this?
This
for some
is
reason?
like day one. I remember being jacked. I had my PS3. I spent a shit ton of money on it. GTA 4 comes out, and it just didn't do it for me at all.
I wasn't day one, but this was before 5 came out, and I had the same experience. I'm like, I love Grand Theft Auto games. This is the new one. I should love it. And I played it for maybe 2 hours, and I was just so not having fun with it that I turned it off.
I even remember loading it back up on my old PS3 maybe like 2 years ago, just to give it a second chance. Mm-hmm. And I got to the same part as last time I quit, and I quit.
So, Tom, you and I might have the same feelings about this game. I didn't hate it that much.
Yeah, I didn't.
I remember
it's not
booting it
definitely
up.
not my favorite. Yeah.
Right. Me neither, but I remember booting it up and being like, you know what? There's a lot of cool new things that are going on in this game.
Yeah.
The main character, sure, he's Russian. I don't relate to that, but you know what? I've also never lived in New York City. Can't relate to that either. So
Yeah.
I'm just
And
going to let this fly.
I don't. Yeah, and I don't know if there was a bump. You know, this was the first GTA on the quote next gen systems at the time, so 360, you know, PS3. So that might have, you know, helped gild the lily a bit. Yeah, I didn't hate the game, and I did at the time. The shit you could do was pretty crazy. You know, the internet cafes, you could actually go on dating sites and shit like that.
Yeah.
And,
For a next gen game, though, the graphics were terrible.
I don't know if I agree with that.
At the time.
I only played it on PS3, and so I've never really played a 360 at all in my life. But I just remember, like, I can't see what's going on. It was such a dark game.
Really?
To me, the problem is the protagonist. Nico is not exciting, much like Arno is not exciting in Assassin's Creed. If you're not drawn in by the character, the entire experience is painted by that. And Nico was never interesting, and I think that was a failure. I've hung out with many exciting. I'm not Russian, but I've hung out with many like exciting people from that part of the world, and I think having a
Yakov Smirnov,
maybe younger or more crazy, like a more crazy protagonist would have worked for me better. But yeah, it didn't work for me.
Yeah. The story fell flat pretty much as soon as it finished the load screen.
I also think the city layout probably didn't help, because you had to like get on exit ramps and like do the whole like do a whole like I don't even know what they're called.
It is utterly baffling how many people don't talk about Grand Theft Auto 4. This is the first time I've talked about it with people out loud.
Me too.
Since it came out.
It is. Yeah.
Isn't
You're
that
not
weird?
wrong. You're not
Isn't
wrong.
that fucking crazy?
Yeah.
It's the forgotten game, but I think for good reason.
I mean, 5 was so good that people are still playing it, and arguably 5 needs to be updated or changed, but also people are still playing it, so maybe it doesn't need to be. Nobody talks about 4. No one's like, dude, Nico. No one set that effort.
Yeah,
I mean, you just did.
That's
but
a failure.
Yeah. Well, but we've all played it at the same time.
I didn't beat it.
Also, one of the
Neither
best
did
selling
I.
games of all
Again,
time.
I got to a certain point where I tried to rob a bank and I kept dying, and I was just like, you know what? And maybe that's it. I'm not that interested in the story. I can stop playing this game.
I think
that's fine.
I've only made it like an hour into the game. I can't go any further than that.
Like I think it was
boring.
devoid of that special I don't know, that balance of seriousness and zaniness and goofiness,
which is part
more
of it.
dark.
Right.
It was like pretty much. I don't remember like a lot of levity in the main story. You know what I mean?
I mean, and if you were to compare this to 5, which is so great because, like you mentioned, they have the 3 protagonists and they all represent different styles of the gamer who's playing the game.
And you have the heist mechanic where you're kind of, there's like 4 or 5 things you're building to, like set pieces. I mean, I do think the story in GTA 5 is not great.
But every time Trevor comes on screen and does something crazy, I get excited. And then also I know Franklin and Michael and the way they react to him, I'm ready for it. But without Trevor, I don't want to experience what the other how they react to him. You know, you need Walter White in order to care about Hank and Marie in Breaking Bad, and Trevor to me is the zaniness, because Grand Theft Auto does need a over the top crazy aspect to it. It doesn't need to be zany. Zany seems a little too silly, but outlandish, satirical, and bizarre. And Trevor, to me, oh my God, Trevor is such a goddamn delight, to quote your girlfriend's roller derby name.
That's right. Hey, way to get her in there. Yeah, executive producer.
That's how they got it right. If you look at 4, the zany guy, or as far as I got, was your crazy cousin that owned the cab store.
Roman.
You know? Yeah, Roman. But he was like, it was terrible. But Trevor has the right amount of zaniness and the right amount of like, je ne sais quoi
or je ne sais don't give a fuck.
I honestly think that it might have to do a lot with the layout of the landscape as well, because there's no ramps, there's no funness to the landscape in 4.
I do remember driving on some roads and you were under the train, and you'd always run into the the posts in the middle of the street. Yeah, that was always a pain in the ass.
Right, and that's what I'm saying is like the landscape has everything to do with these games as well.
Yeah,
as the gameplay and the story and everything. The map itself is a character to the.
Yeah, 4 never really got out. 4 never got outside the city. Plus, 4 really leaned in. Liberty City really leaned into New York there. So, I mean, it was all like belt lines and interstates connecting.
Right. Yeah, and there's
4 felt more realistic. 4's gameplay felt like it was more weighted in realism, whereas 5 has an arcadey feel to the city.
Yeah.
Which is more fun to experiment in.
You can parachute out of an airplane into a building and get wasted or whatever. Whereas in 4, I don't think any of that's there. It's what you can do as a human. That's what you can do in 4, and there's like a limitation to that.
But what Tom Cruise can do in Mission Impossible movies is what you can do in 5.
Yes,
which makes it fantastic.
Which is what I want to do in real life.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't want to just like take a girlfriend bowling. I want to jump off after a bank heist with a parachute.
I don't want to play the fucking Sims 4. I want to play GTA.
Right. But I will say, to 4's credit, as I mentioned earlier, it did have 2 really beefy expansions that were pretty good. The Lost and the Damned was the first one where you play the guy from the motorcycle game who did show up in GTA 5 and you stomp his brains out.
Oh,
which is fucking hilarious.
Okay.
So, yeah. And then The Ballad of Gay Tony was really good.
I've heard good things about that. I've heard good things about that.
I vaguely recall that game now, or that expansion, yeah.
So Grand Theft Auto 4 had multiplayer too, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
That must have been
not as vibrant as as 5 is.
But
Did
they
it?
did have it.
I think so.
They have race, cops and crooks, deal breaker, free mode, not free base, bomb to base, and
Take it to the base.
and hangman's noose. I'm looking at the guide right here. So it had some, but not as open-ended as like a GTA 5.
Right.
Looks like 4 people maximum generally.
Okay.
Wait, no, 16 players for cops and crooks. 2 teams, 16 players.
It's basically sharks and minnows.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
shit.
You can play Red Rover as well.
Yeah.
I call Nick and I over.
All right, and just to bring it home a little bit, I know we've been talking about GTA 5 a lot. GTA 5, definitely, by far, the most successful game in the franchise. Also, one of the most successful games of all time. It is officially the 3rd best-selling game of all time.
Behind?
Behind Tetris, which is number 1, and Minecraft.
Fuck yeah.
Minecraft.
We are up to 150 million units sold so far since 2013 when it came out. 8-year-old game. This thing is still on the NPD charts, usually the top 10 every month.
That's frustrating.
It's just a fucking juggernaut.
Well,
thanks to GTA Online.
I think I was
obviously.
going to say rightfully so with the mods and the just the amount of shit you can do. Like I said, my employees, they would just play this game and it wouldn't be like doing missions, it would just be playing the game, like putting in the cheat codes and getting the tanks and getting the stars and having the FBI and the police chase you and just trying to get away. Because that's really what we all want to be in life, guys, is a young boy from New Mexico called Billy the Kid.
The fact you can get $80 worth of shark cards for $70 is just exciting. Think of all of that shit you can buy on GTA Online with real money.
Yeah.
But at the same time, how sad is it that it's been out for 8 years now? And, you can go up to someone on the street, yo, man, do you have a Xbox or PS5? Yeah, man, next gen. What game are you playing? GTA 5. Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Who are you hanging out with, Jamie?
It's the only game I've
There's
ever
people
played
he talks to
through
on the
3
street.
times.
He's walking the dog.
Some dude is stealing Jamie's car, and he's like, "Hey, man, what game are you playing? GTA 5, bro. I can tell.
Next gen console? Yeah, man. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, I think, Brad, your favorite GTA is Vice City.
It might be 5. I mean, GTA Vice City has the strongest feelings for me, but I mean, if I had to replay something right now, I wouldn't touch Vice City. It would not have aged well. I've tried to. The only thing I would want to play now is 5, but Vice City, for nostalgia factor, in my mind, it's the most definitive experience.
I hear you. Yeah. I'm chosen to play GTA 5 right now, as a matter of fact. I'm like, maybe I can just boot it up. After the
Danny
podcast.
Tamborelli's waiting, dude.
Hey, man,
I know.
you just gotta get that through that load screen. That's it.
Boot it up now.
Dom, how about you? What's
Mine's
your favorite?
3. Mine's definitely 3.
3.
There's a huge nostalgia factor to that, but I feel like every time I go back to it, it actually holds up pretty well because of how basic it is.
Sure.
You walk into a room, they give you the mission, you go do the mission. You don't have to work out to have stamina.
I wish.
The music in that game, I think,
life.
is really good. And I love Vice City. I think Vice City is a really good game. It's definitely my second favorite. But because it, at the time, was a modern-day video game, it has the radio stations from all the different eras. Mm-hmm. And, sometimes you just want to go out and cause some mayhem. And sure, I can listen to some opera music. And I can also listen to some hip hop or, some REM in that game.
Athens, Georgia.
Yeah.
Same with the B-52s.
Second best band to come out of Athens, Georgia.
Shout
That's
out
right.
B-52s. We love you.
Yeah.
We're still doing the acapella version of B-52s before we leave. Jamie, how about you, man?
She was a lobster, but not a rock lobster. Okay, we did it.
I would actually...
Okay, we did it.
I don't really have a lot to add to this. I'm actually pretty much on board with Brad. I think it's been so long since I've played these games. Vice City is definitely a standout. But to your point, Brad, it's more nostalgia. in my mind, it's a fantastic game. To play it now, I don't know, but 5 is kind of the standout. In all honesty, it's the culmination of everything that they've tried to do, and they finally got it right. From story, mind you, it's a little bit short. The story I found, the gameplay mechanics are tweaked better. You have a lot more fun playing it than any of the other games.
Fair enough, man. GTA 5 is definitely for me the most fun to play.
Oh, definitely.
And most modern, I guess.
Right.
I guess that goes with the territory. But yeah, like I mentioned before, I am a sucker for San Andreas, and I want to say like mostly it's the music that really is the most indelible factor for me for that game. But also that time period in my life, was going to college. And couldn't wait to get the fuck out so I can go home and drink some more hot coffee. So I loved it. So, dear listeners, let us know what your favorite GTA game is and what your favorite memories are from Grand Theft Auto series.
Tom, where can they get a hold of us if they want to do that?
Specifically, if your favorite game is Grand Theft Auto 4 in this series, you have to. We're demanding you reach out to us. You can find us by email at hairthedogcast@gmail.com. We're on Twitter at HotDogcast, Instagram hairthedogcast. If you have any strong feelings about Grand Theft Auto 4, I need to know about them because there's not a lot of you, and you have to stand up for this game because I haven't heard anyone talk about it with certain love or affection. So please reach out to us.
Absolutely. We would all love to hear that. And hey, GTA 4 to me is not a bad game. It's just maybe when you're in the company of such juggernauts, it's hard to.
Absolutely. I agree with that.
It's like, how do you follow up Frankenstein or something?
Yes.
Mary Shelley tried, but she failed.
All right, guys. I don't know if you've ever been here for One for the Road, but this is how we end this show.
I haven't, but I am very excited for this.
Oh, I'm not ready for it.
Oh, God. Here we go. This is One for the Road. This is where we each sign off with our social media credentials and also let the listeners know about one cool thing, not necessarily game related, that you'd like them to know about. Who wants to go?
I can go first.
All right, Dom.
So before I left and went to Texas, Brad had recommended Midnight Mass, you and Carly, and Jamie had also watched it.
Heard it's good.
And Brad's recommendation was probably show of the year. And Jamie's recommendation of it was, it's fine. So I went, I need to watch this.
Yes. You need to settle
check
this.
it out. But my one for the road is not Midnight Mass.
Fuck.
It is.
It's 2 for the road.
So I will say this. Me and my girlfriend, we watched Midnight Mass. And whether or not we liked it, we decided we're going to go back and watch all of Mike Flanagan's shit.
He's the best horror director today.
So we went back and didn't realize we've already watched some of his stuff. One of which was Gerald's Game.
So good.
And
so
Gerald's Game,
good.
if you haven't seen that, very good. It's a Stephen King adaptation of this couple that's having marriage problems, and they go and rent this Airbnb of sorts, and some shit happens. They're trying to spice up their marriage. If that's something that you're going through, do not check this out.
Yes.
But what we have also done is we just finished last night the entirety of, Sarah, what is it called? We're watching Bly Manor now. What's the other one? Hill House. Haunting of Hill House.
Hill House is good.
Hill House is my Bly Manor is not as good.
Yeah.
Hill House is probably my favorite horror series of all time.
Okay, cool. Because I loved it. We're watching Bly Manor right now. We just started it yesterday. But if you get a chance to watch all of this guy's stuff, he's very good at what he's doing. Mm-hmm. We watched Gerald's Game, but then we watched Midnight Mass. I will say this, Jamie, I quite liked it a whole lot.
It was good, save for the ending.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I won't say much about what that show is about. If you haven't seen it, check it out. It's a great rendition of what the Catholic religion is based off of, if I can say that.
You can.
Very good. But what I really, really liked about that show was the fact that they had all these really amazing one-take scenes.
Yeah, that's a Mike Flanagan thing.
And
It's awesome.
because this was the last thing that he's made, I didn't know that was a thing that he did. So I mentioned it to somebody, and they said, "Oh, have you seen Haunting of Hill House?"
Hill House.
And there is
that whole episode. Yeah,
there's one episode in that show. It's not one take, but it's cut up into obviously act 1, 2, and 3, and each act is one take, and it's fantastic.
and they're not one take, but they're cleverly hidden.
I
to
love it.
look
It's like
one
1917's
Right.
movie.
It's like
Where can
that.
people get a hold of you, Dom?
Right now, we mostly post on Zephyrine Vintage on Instagram. That's our RV account.
Okay.
So if you want to get a hold of me and let me know what you guys think of any of Mike Flanagan's shit, I'd love to hear from you. If you also want to check out what it's like to renovate an RV, check that out as well. We're going to be traveling here pretty soon, so if you'd like to come and see what America looks like, please come and follow us. That's, again, Zephyrine Vintage on Instagram.
Will there be video game content on Zephyrine Vintage?
Probably.
Okay,
Yeah,
then
I've got
in.
a Switch.
I'm in.
I've got a Switch, and I'm trying to finish Persona 5 Strikers. So.
Okay, I'm in.
And they also, their hideout in that game is an RV.
What?
Yeah, dude.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, I gotta get back
it's
to playing
really
that game.
relating to me right now.
Brad, how about you?
As far as me, I'm going to go ahead and one for the road. Check out GCHD. If you have a GameCube and you're not using it, that is a problem. Now, it's a little bit expensive, the HDMI adapter, but this company will sell you one. And granted, $150 is not a cheap price to get in.
Cheaper than a FrameMeister.
It's cheaper than a FrameMeister,
Or
and
Mister.
the GameCube up there on an HD TV, you can access widescreen functionality, which a handful of GameCube games have. Not all of them, but a lot of them do. And you'll be able to play games like you've never played before. And you can get a lot more out of that system than people originally thought, because the GameCube, you didn't get anything that allowed HD in America, except for some composite cables, which are so rare, they're more expensive than an HDMI adapter from GCHD.
You're insane.
So go ahead and get it, because the GameCube is one of the greatest systems ever made.
Have you played Rogue Leader? With those
I've never
cables?
played Rogue Leader, but I
That's
want to
a
borrow it and play it.
Fantastic
Oof.
game.
Oh, man.
I love that game.
Great.
Yeah,
Brad,
I'd love to borrow that, because that's something that I've always wanted to play.
When you're not playing your GCHD, what's your account that you would be tweeting at? Where can people get a hold of you?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram. I'm Loaf of White Brad at Loaf of White Brad. And also check out my other podcast, Need for Speedrunning. If you have any interest in speedrunning video games, come and hang out with me, Spike Vegeta, Jay Hobbs, and Luigi's Apartment. And we talk about different game each episode. And yeah, check out Need for Speedrunning as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff on that podcast.
Damn
So,
right.
check it out.
Jamie.
Well, let's stick to the movie theme that Dom started, Riders of Justice. I'm a huge Mads Mikkelsen fan, and this
He's good.
movie blows you away. It's
chief.
super serious. It's very poignant for mental health, but it's also quite funny. If you want another fantastic Mads Mikkelsen movie, one for the road. Directed by the same director. He's Swedish or Norwegian, I can't recall. So you do have to read the movies, but they are fantastic.
I'm
So your real one for the road is Mads Mikkelsen.
Check out Mads Mikkelsen, guys.
Yeah,
I mean,
He's fantastic.
I'm sure that
He's
anybody
fantastic.
that's watching anything right now, i.e., Squid Game, is probably reading a show right now. So
touche,
this
touche.
probably won't be anything out of the ordinary.
I love subtitled movies because it makes me feel like I'm actually reading a book.
Yeah, that's why
And
why I play video
it
games,
makes me
honestly.
feel that I know the language. It's like, oh man, I understand this.
I get it.
Yeah. All right, Jamie. Where can people get a hold of you?
I really don't do social media. I do have a band mix page now if you want to check out some cool
Fucking
rock
band
music.
mix.
Band mix, man.
Yeah. You
I'm
looking
also
for any players? Let's do it.
Yeah, I'm looking for a drummer. So any fellow listeners in Milwaukee, if you can bang some drums, reach out to me. It's High Tide on Bandmix. listen to some cool demos, and send me a big old electronic mail, and
Because
we'll
they smoke weed.
we'll
man.
try
I heard your stuff, man.
edition.
It sounded really good. So no lie.
The new stuff up there is pretty cool. We got some very 80s-esque stuff and some modern stuff. It's pretty cool, man.
Right on. All right.
All right,
Well,
that's all of us. Just kidding. Tom, where can they find you? What do you got over
fuck
there?
off. Just kidding. I'll make this quick. My one for the road is a cry for help. I am going down.
Tom, we'll help you, dude.
Okay. Reality TV. For some reason, I got sucked into this fucking show called
Is it
Below
Fuckboy
Deck.
Island on HBO?
Almost. It's worse. I don't know if you guys ever watched reality shows about yachting and people hooking up.
What
But
are
I got into this show called Below Deck. It's streaming on Peacock.
Oh, I've heard about this.
Blow dick?
Below
Deck.
Dick.
I mean, it's
Below
not
Deck.
New Zealand.
Deck.
Yeah. And
Yeah, these are all the people who are like underneath the crew of the show of the boat, right?
Cruise lines?
Yeah. Tell me about
every,
this.
Yes, every season is like a 6-week yacht charter, and you have like 8 crew members. Just all in confined quarters. Every week, every episode is like a different group of people who are chartering this yacht for like a couple days.
yeah.
So you get some rednecks who just came into money, like, yeah, we're gonna go on a yacht, and then you get like some really hoity-toity people who are used to like being pampered and shit, and then you have all the crew who are locked into this fucking boat for like 6 to 8 weeks at a time, and everyone starts off happy. Everyone either ends up fucking each other and or hating each other at the end of the season.
Yeah, there's
Or-
only
or
one
both.
way.
Or
Yeah,
both.
there's
Or
only
both.
one way you get scurvy. So
Yes, and I don't know what's wrong with me. I mean, I've dipped my toe into like schlocky reality TV before, so I'm no stranger to it. But for some reason, man, it just scratched the itch, and now I'm to the point where I don't want to watch it anymore, but I can't stop watching it. And fuck. So
What are you watching
Below
it on?
Deck. All seasons are streaming on Peacock right now.
oh hell yeah, Sarah bought a Peacock subscription like 4 months ago, so we could watch the entirety of the final Fast and Furious franchise. And
Okay.
I keep yelling at her because she hasn't canceled it. But now I can watch this. So good. Thank you for that.
Don't start,
appreciate
man.
it.
I don't know who you are anymore. But I did get Peacock a week and a half ago to watch Halloween Kills, but I plan on canceling it in the first month.
Oh yeah. I told her
All right,
to
well,
do it.
catch an
I told
episode
her
of
to-
Below Deck, Brad. Just do it
we'll
for
watch
Tom.
one episode of Below Deck,
All right.
and then 10 more.
Below Deck. Below Deck.
Yes. And you can get a hold of me at Tom_Wegner on Twitter, and get a hold of the Dogcast, because we really want to know what you think about GTA, or whatever you think about anything would be great. Check us out, hairofthedogcast@gmail.com. Brad, where can they get a hold of us? Other places. I think there's a Twitter.
We're on Twitter at Hot Dogcast,
That's
Facebook and
right.
Instagram, Hair of the Dogcast.
Just testing
We
you.
are in Milwaukee, wherever good beer is sold. And yeah, come check
And
us
we'll-
out. We'll be
yeah.
at Midwest Gaming Classic November
We'll
5th,
legit
6th,
be in
and 7th.
Milwaukee. Yes.
Yes,
in November.
if you are there, come say hi to us. We are going to be having a stage. We are going to be talking to a lot of people. And also,
Yep.
we'd love to talk to you. So if you're in the
Yes.
Midwest Gaming Classic and want to play some wonderful games, definitely come check out the Midwest Gaming Classic for 1 or all 3 days, because there will be many pinball machines, many arcade games, many console games, many vendors, many celebrities, and also Josh will be there as well. So he will. Yes.
Rumor has it, yes.
He's cleared
And,
his schedule.
Yeah, and we're starting to line up some cool people for. This is the first year Midwest Gaming Classic has giving us a stage, so we are starting to line up some pretty cool people who will be on that stage and we'll be talking to. So be there. That's it. Wow, good job. Woo.
We did it.
We did it. We fucking
we
did
could.
it. So yeah, let's go out. B-52s, Rome.
She was a rock lobster. No.
Rock Lobster.
I don't know this song, man.
She looked like a rock.
Rome?
But she wasn't
It's-
a rock.
Rock Lobster.
Rock Lobster. How about Love Shack? Who knows?
Rock lobster. Baby.
She was as big as a whale, and I forgot to set sail. Because Love Shack is a pretty old place where we can get together.
Love Shack, baby. Is this going on too long?
Rock lobster.
No, this is a bit.
All right,
it can go on forever.
See, everybody, we love you. And yeah, we hope you still listen to us after this.